Welcome everyone to another Monday Night Raw watch party. I am your host, Tom Collihew, but as always, this is your show. This is a show about you guys, sharing your opinions, sharing your views, and having wrestling to enjoy with good friends, good buddies, and everything along the way. We are very simple folk over here on both Twitch and on YouTube for the Tom Collihew channel. We just want to have a good time watching good wrestling. Instead, we are watching Monday Night Raw tonight, which is not delivered for a while, but had that one really good week. That one really good week a little while ago. Let's just say a little while ago, we had that one really good week. Hopefully, more of the same, but tonight it's all built around Charlotte Flair's big surprise announcement. What will it be? Is she injured? Is she hurt? Is she just a bit sick of wrestling Rhea Ripley? Who knows? Who can tell? Us. We can tell because it's definitely not that. It's definitely not that. I'm still expecting the salmon suit, the Mark Henry light situation, whereby she comes down, beats up Rhea Ripley because she's seriously hurt. Oh no, she isn't. In a bit of pantomime. Because let's be honest, there's always going to be at least a little bit of pantomime. Always at least a little bit. What can I say? So, welcome to the show. We are currently getting warmed up. We are 3 minutes away from Raw starting. I don't know what we're going to open with. I suspect it'll be Miz TV. Miz TV starting makes the most sense to me personally. So it's what I expect. But it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen because we live in a crazy world. I'm also loading up my Discord at the moment so that people know where to find us. And I think what I'll do is today I will share the live YouTube feed on Twitter just to see if we can reach that last 10 people. We are only 10 subscribers away from a major milestone on YouTube. We're live now watching WWE Raw. We post videos every single day. Check us out. Call it there. Where people can literally click on the tweet and immediately be watching this show. So with Raw about to start, as usual, I will introduce myself. I am Tom Collihew for anyone who doesn't know. I essentially am a wrestling pundit, a wrestling journalist for PW Torch. I host a podcast called Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure on the VIP network of PW Torch, and I've been talking about wrestling for a long time. I'm a big fan. I also do some gaming content, some Football Manager, and some Final Fantasy VII as well for anyone who likes a good old variety streamer. You can watch us here on YouTube and you can watch us here on Twitch. For these watch parties, we are on both services. We need to get some numbers on both ideally. On Twitch, we are currently sat at 225 subscribers. Once we reach 250, we're going to be playing the entirety of the video game The Last of Us in a single sitting. That is a 15 to 18 hour stream, which will be challenging, shall we say. We have a number of channel point options on Twitch, some of which involve jigsaws of The Rock, some of which involve me putting on a Christmas jumper, and others of which are just me cutting promos on Vince McMahon. So you have a world of options available to you to hang out, to make jokes, and to enjoy the show that little bit extra. We're also an Ask Me Anything stream, so you can literally make any comment you would like, ask anything you would like, and I will endeavor to answer it. I'll do everything I can to make sure that you get the answer that you're looking for. We've also got a very smart crowd in here who will bring in news, who will bring in information, who will bring in stats, and will let you know everything that you may or may not be looking for. Every now and then we also do trivia. Sometimes it works out, sometimes not so much. Right now, Raw is starting, and let's see what we're going to be opening this show with. Let me get onto Discord so I can say hi to people and just say to everyone, we're live now. We're live now. Ready to watch Raw. There we go. So everybody is fully aware. We will be hosting one extra show. Matt says, are we live? We are indeed, Matt. It is next week that Raw is going to be pre-recorded. This week is the final live Raw from the Thunderdome. Is this just fantasy? Welcome, Matt. We will be doing one extra show this week. Myself and Ed Fries will be hosting an NXT watch party tomorrow at this time. So if you're interested in watching NXT of us, by all means, check in. We've opened the show by running down the concept of Money in the Bank. I think we get it. We are opening with the Miz TV segment, which is smart. I suspect this is going to end in a fatal four-way. Miz is typically the show opener. Kind of gets a jobber entrance in that I'd imagine it's hard to get that wheelchair in the ring without at least looking ungainly. Chelsea says, this is simulation. Wrestling is all simulation. Hope you had a good weekend. I did, thank you. I had a very good weekend. The football was good. The company was good. And I don't know. I had fun. Today's not been great. Today I've been up and down. But I had a good weekend. And Matt says, did you know Miz TV is awesome? So I've heard. This time there's even a ladder involved. Imagine having a ladder involved in the middle of a Miz TV. Miz is claiming to be a Money in the Bank expert, which, to be fair, he kind of is. He won one. He's competed in several more. But most importantly, he's cashed in 2 briefcases despite only winning the one. If you are watching on YouTube, please do remember to click that like button. That's a big help to me in helping the show grow, helping me get those final 10 subscribers and going from there. So a big thank you for anyone who clicks that like button there. I've got to be honest. Miz and Morrison aren't really there for me. Their target audience is clearly a lot younger than I am. Clearly a lot younger. That's no. It's not back up. It's money. Jermaine Presley says, hi, Tom. Welcome to another Monday Night Raw, and welcome to you too, Jermaine. Welcome. Earlier on today, we did host Spoiler Warning. We talked about a fair bit of news, including who we're expecting for our next champions, backstage and journalistic response to Zelina Vega, and more. So if you're interested in Spoiler Warning, keep an eye out on YouTube because the videos will be going live over the course of the next few days. Matt says, Morrison is just a joy to watch. Just wish he was doing something more impactful. Oh, you want Johnny to be more impact? I get what you're saying. I respect it. John Morrison seems very happy to be where he is. Drew McIntyre added a leather jacket to proceedings. They're reiterating the cash-in. Which, of course, The Miz took the championship away from Drew McIntyre. He's saying he keeps getting screwed, and he does. But sooner or later, this is wrestling. You have to get on with it. Okay, he said any brand of his choosing. We're definitely playing up to this idea that it might be NXT. Talk about the Alamo. Oh, God. Oh, God. Matt says Morrison might be at a point where he's good to entertain kids and make money. That's exactly what he's doing. Exactly. And Chelsea says Prime Morrison was a joy to watch. I'm still upset we haven't had an AJ Styles versus John Morrison feud yet. You just know that's going to be good. Megan says Miz and Morrison doing a piss-poor attempt at drumming makes me mad. Yeah, they're very hateable. In a good way. Very hateable. And Matt says some more younger stars are more like wanting the respect and artistic freedoms you can't find in WWE. Yeah, They are, and a lot of them are also saying that and then coming back. What we've found recently is a lot of people would rather have the money. And that's fine. If people would rather have the money, that is absolutely fine. Just be open about it. What the hell is a splash hole? That is so dumb. McIntyre was about to punch both of them, but then Ricochet's made his entrance. Megan says, it's also the fact that my brothers are both pipe band drummers, so I've grown up with it. See, even more reason to dislike. Even more. Chelsea says, 10 days, everyone. And indeed it is 10 days until we have fans back. A lot to look forward to there. Just the 10 days. No time at all. This is going to be a really long segment before we get to the actual match, isn't it? I suppose this could end up... No, there's only one heel, and that's Morrison. Oh, that's a lovely move. Morrison's the only heel on the Raw side, so it's unlikely to be a tag match. I remain confident that we're looking at a fatal four-way to open the show here, and I'm fine with it. God, everyone's asking me this. I don't know, Chelsea. I don't know. The match against Ukraine, that was pretty good. Don't think that's going to fly against an Italy. I really don't. Jermaine says, I know John Morrison and the Miz are good friends. They really are. But do you think they'll make Frankie Monet and put her with John Morrison on Raw or have the two of them on SmackDown together after the draft? I think they will continue to be entirely separate going forwards. I don't expect them to be paired up in any way, shape, or form on the main roster. And I think Frankie Monet is going to be in NXT for a little while yet. I hope they're not going to rush her, and I don't think they will. I don't, though. They need to make me believe. By and large, they did, but, you know, we've not finished the job yet. This Ricochet promo started good. It's not finishing good. Ed is turning heel on the English football fans. No coming home. No. Welcome to the show, Ed. It's a fair point, Chelsea, that the clean sheets are reason to be excited, especially when they've got John Stones in defense. Megan says, if home is anywhere other than England, then yes, it's coming home. Oh. Oh. Matt Riddle is now making his entrance, and he gets a recap as well. Everybody gets a recap. His foot is taped up, and Ricochet just got a sandal in the face. Drew McIntyre just turns his head like... McIntyre's looking forward to kicking this guy again. You can tell. He kept his microphone in a little bag. Climb the ladder, yes. McIntyre supports it. I think McIntyre kind of likes Matt Riddle. Chelsea suggests that maybe Randy Orton should help Riddle win Money in the Bank. Why not? There is no reason not to. Randy Orton's got nothing else to do. Will we see him this week? That'll be an interesting one. Aveba says, how was experience working with Sportskeeda? I enjoyed my work at Sportskeeda. I enjoyed the front of house stuff. And I very much enjoyed the people I was working under. I do recommend them as a potential employer. So if you get a chance to write for them, by all means do it. They're generally one of the higher paid wrestling writing jobs as well. Jill says, Riddle just said he's really high. He's the GOAT. He's indeed really high. He's high up that ladder. Also possible everywhere else. Pardon me. Oh, the Miz has just said that Drew McIntyre will take on Jinder Mahal tonight. Well, there you go. Megan says, I kind of want Orton to turn on Riddle and launch him off a ladder. Chelsea believes it's way too early for that, which I kind of get. I agree there. AJ Styles and Omos are making their entrance, and I don't know why. This is all a little bit crazy. So it is McIntyre versus Mahal tonight. AJ Styles believed he was robbed. Sorry, he believed he was robbed. He's blaming Randy Orton. I feel that Riddle will turn Orton since we all expect Orton to turn. I think they will both turn heel in the standard Sheamus Cesaro style. That's what I personally see happening. That's just my opinion. AJ's unhappy with that Riddle got into the match last week. There are 7 people in that ring. Chelsea says, do you remember when Vince gave away 100,000? I remember when he said he was going to give away 100,000. I don't remember him actually doing it. AJ's throwing blame at Riddle, but he's having to look up really high. Oh. Nimbly bim. What is Matt Riddle? What is Matt Riddle? Almost just tips Riddle off the ladder. Tips it sideways instead of forwards as he was meant to. But he did it one-handed, so it looked impressive. Ed says, thoughts on Damo on Quizzlemania? No comment. Megan says, I kind of want them all to be sitting on ladders. I remember that happening. It was the Money in the Bank that Dean Ambrose won. And there was a promo when they were all just sat on ladders. You had Jericho, you had Owens, you had Zayn, you had Ambrose, all just sat on ladders, way up high, chatting to each other. Jill says, that did actually look like an awkward fall. It really did, didn't it? We've got a really slow segment right now. AJ just taking his time before making the attack. Right, okay. I can now see the face versus heel dynamic we've got here. There's going to be a 6-man. Ricochet, McIntyre, and Riddle against Morrison, Styles, and Omos. Not a huge surprise. See, I remember Cesaro. Ed says Cesaro and Del Rio are the other two from that segment. I remember Cesaro, but wasn't confident enough to say it. Del Rio I had no recollection of. But that's probably for a reason. Drew McIntyre just clotheslined Omos over the top rope. That's as bad as Omos has ever looked. Everyone says, your thoughts on Great Khali and CWE? I don't know what CWE is. As regards Great Khali, terrible, terrible wrestler who made no effort to get any better. Genuinely made no effort whatsoever to get any better. A legend to a certain community. Not so much for the rest of us. Chelsea says, does anyone remember No Way Out 2008? I watched it the other day. It was a great pay-per-view. Can you tell me more? Because I may do once I get some prompts. At the moment, nah. At the moment, there is nothing there. Like, I probably will have flown through it at some point. What photo is that? Oh, the Money in the Bank one. Everyone sat on the ladder. Right, makes sense. What can I say? Warren's always ahead of the game. At least this time it was just Matt Riddle. We have our first commercial break after 15 minutes. A 15-minute opening promo setting up a random 6-man tag match. This will probably be our only Matt Riddle segment this week, which is a negative because Matt Riddle's been the highlight of Raw for about 2 months now. So the more they have of him, the better off they are. This will probably be all. Vabav is asking for my favorite match of all time. WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. I don't even think about it. that for me is the best match of all time. A lot of people will tell you that it's not very good. Naturally, I very much disagree. As regards No Way Out 2008. Right, so Ed says it was, Jesus Christ, Triple H versus HBK versus Jeff Hardy versus Chris Jericho versus JBL versus Umaga in the Elimination Chamber main event was No Way Out 2008. Well, yeah, I definitely don't remember that. That sounds like a match between two people and then there's a lot of extras. I'd imagine that's when Hardy came really close but didn't quite make it, and then he was a champion in no time afterwards. I think I recall that, but that's all I got. That's very much all I got. Certain pay-per-views just don't stay with you. Stay with me. Maybe if you live through them, as it were, you would. Matt is here and has redeemed a hijack for 60 seconds of favorite wrestler for CM Punk. So let's put 60 seconds on the clock and let's talk CM Punk. CM Punk brought fans back. He made people care. And top to bottom, people were genuinely excited for this guy. He held people to account. He looked at Vince McMahon and forced him to apologize. He escaped with the championship. He changed the game, and he is the last 5-star match that the WWE have. He didn't just get the most out of John Cena, he got the best out of John Cena. I think that was the single best moment of John Cena's career, that particular match. He was still John Cena, but he was the best John Cena he could be. What I do think with CM Punk is people need to give it a rest, because the more you beg for him to come back, the less likely it's going to happen, because he likes pissing you off. This whole voice of the voiceless thing, it's not just because he wants to rile up WWE. He wants to rile up every single one of us. And he does so very successfully. The guy is the best of trolls, and he has made a career out of it. Vabab's favorite match is Usos versus New Day in Hell in a Cell. A very, very good match. A very good match. And Jermaine says, hey, Tom, I was at WrestleMania 12 watching that match and loving every minute of it. The emotional journey of that match was incredible. Going to the draw, seeing Shawn Michaels just shaking his head desperately saying no. It was an incredible, incredible display. Oh, so it's not a 6-man tag. We've ended up with Ricochet versus John Morrison again. They could have had a lot of combinations, and we've just ended up having the same match we had last week. Hey, more Matt Riddle. And we do know we're going to have McIntyre versus Mahal later, so I suppose that means we're not going to get it at SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre might be winning this briefcase after all. Can Ricochet and Morrison have a better match than they did last week? Because their match last week was very, very good. I'm not sure it's really feasible that they could improve on it. But it's starting well. It's an opportunity for Ricochet. Yeah, I have absolutely no recollection of that pay-per-view. None whatsoever. 2008 is a bit of a dead zone for me. Just a bit of a dead zone. It's difficult for me to come in and say, oh, this was a highlight or this was a great time. It just, Megan says, Ricochet is on TV, so I will take it. Fair. Certainly, since WrestleMania, Ricochet's been a lot more involved. He, of course, has been involved in the United States Championship scene. And he's been a focus point. Not an overwhelming focal point, but he's certainly been given a lot more attention than he has had in the past. And that's a very good thing. Matt says 2008 was a stacked roster. Yeah, but, I wasn't there watching it at the time, and it doesn't appeal to me going back to it. It genuinely doesn't. All right, Chelsea's... Right, okay. So Jeff Hardy versus Umaga in Falls Count Anywhere. A Singapore Cain match with Big Show, CM Punk, John Morrison, Tommy Dreamer, and Chavo. Cena versus JBL in First Blood. None of this sounds particularly exciting, gotta be honest. Shawn Michaels versus Batista. That sounds exciting. Triple H versus Orton. Not interested whatsoever. Undertaker versus Edge. I heard good things about their feud. Heard good things. But yeah, that's not one that it will be one that I have seen. I just won't remember it. You've got to remember, the difficulty I have is that my focus point in wrestling is not the wrestling, it's the storytelling. And when you've got like 20 years to catch up on, you're not going to get all the storytelling. You're just going to get the wrestling. Thoughts on Ryback? He exists, and that's as much attention as we need to pay to him. Everyone needs to get over themselves and ignore the man. Those are my thoughts. And Matt says, I rewatched Punk versus Bryan from Over the Limit. It's so good. Those two could really go. New says Raw is off to a random start. Not that random. I mean, they're trying to push Money in the Bank, so naturally you're going to get matches between the competitors. I won't say this is completely random. What was the most violent pay-per-view on the WWE Network? King of the Ring 1998, when Mick Foley basically died. And that's before you consider the fact that it ended on a First Blood match. Everyone seems to forget that it ended on a First Blood match. That was pretty violent. I've seen Austin buried alive. Do you remember the show? Do you remember the show when Austin was going to be embalmed live? I remember that. It was in December 1998 during the build to a buried alive match with The Undertaker. He's going to be embalmed live on TV. Good times. Megan said this is the last live Raw on the Thunderdome. Then it is indeed. Next week will be recorded, which just leaves one SmackDown, this week's SmackDown, and that is the end of the Thunderdome. As I say, I would not be surprised if we break the Thunderdome a little bit. And you know what? These two would be perfect to start that process. Let's just start it now and keep going until the end. Matt suggests ECW pay-per-views, which is naturally going to be a lot more violent, yeah. But at the same time, do you not remember that time when Road Dogg chased the Big Boss Man and Al Snow into a pub, a bar? I said bub there just to connect the thing. He was Big Bub and the Big Boss Man for a while, and just followed them around, commentating on the match with a microphone. They hated him. That was violent. That was totally violent. Bav says, which match with high hopes fell flat? Big disappointments for me. WrestleMania 2000's main event? I don't know. It's a tough one. There's a lot of matches out there. There is a lot of matches. So I can't sit here and say matches in particular that fell flat to me. There's a few that haven't really delivered, or I didn't feel they delivered. But it's hard to pick out just one. Bailey says, RE 1998. Welcome, Bailey. Undertaker said that he had not steadied himself on the cell. That had he not steadied himself on the cell, he would have fallen through the fencing and crushed Foley. Sounds about right. It was a dumpster fire in a good way. As regards matches that disappointed, Matt suggests Nakamura versus Styles. I disagree. I think looking back at it, it's a good match. Just people expected too much of it because of the whole dream match branding. I thought it was a good match. It was solid. It would fit in nicely at a G1. The undercard of a G1, but a G1 nonetheless. Jacob says, in honor of the Hitman's birthday this past weekend, I went back and watched Brett versus Mr. Perfect, SummerSlam 91. Brett versus Bulldog, SummerSlam 92, and Brett versus Austin, WrestleMania 13 classics. Kids, if you haven't seen his matches, do yourself a favor and check them out. I don't think the first one carries over. I don't think it quite stands up today. But by and large, the rest do. And Brett versus Austin was a very aggressive match. Chelsea, I know what you're going to do. Thank you very much for doing it. I'm not going to pick a number. You do whatever the hell you want. However much you want. Okay? Okay? Because you know what the number would be. It's the exact same one as always. Let's talk about matches that disappointed for you guys. Matt's already suggested Nakamura versus Styles. What else? I know that a lot of people were disappointed by Ambrose versus Lesnar. A lot of people were disappointed by Strowman versus Lesnar. I wasn't disappointed by Strowman versus Lesnar. Strowman versus Lesnar was exactly what I expected. Literally exactly what I expected. Strowman and Lesnar never had any sort of chemistry, and Strowman, not the most exciting wrestler. Oh, no, Noob. Definitely not. Noob says Asuka versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 34. Absolutely not. I loved that match. I thought that was fantastic. You're just disappointed because Charlotte won. Thank you very much for the 64 bits, Chelsea. Very much appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Matt agrees that Ambrose Brock is probably one of them. It suggests, remember everyone, we need to spoil Tom Wednesday if we can. Yes, Wednesday is my birthday, and I will be streaming live right here for anyone who would like to join us. Northern Bear is here. Welcome, Northern Bear. I missed him. Saying Rhea versus Charlotte from WrestleMania 36. Difficult situation. That's a very highly regarded match. I do feel they could have done more, but I think they were sort of put off because at that point there was no crowd, which would be naturally disappointing. I would also suggest in the same vein, Becky versus Shayna, because Shayna beat the crap out of Becky, then got rolled up and lost. It's disappointing. The fan, what do you mean, Noob? We had dueling chants. The fans were all on their feet chanting, "Let's go Asuka, let's go Charlotte." They had dueling chants. People popped massively for a Spanish fly and a hell of a lot of extra moves. The crowd ate that up. Matt suggests the entirety of the invasion storyline. We got some good matches out of that. We got some very good matches out of that. And Chelsea gives another 27 bits. Thank you once again, Chelsea. Very much appreciated. And says, happy pre-birthday. Literally just seen a standing Spanish fly. Good times. Good times. Norman Bear says, Asuka Charlotte was my favorite match from that Mania. Same. A lot of people suggest the debut of Ronda Rousey, but for me, that was very paint by numbers. Charlotte versus Asuka was my personal favorite, with the triple threat that opened the show between Seth, Balor, and The Miz just behind for me. Just behind in that position. I loved that match. It says the WrestleMania 35 main event was pretty blah. I believe. What one was that? Was that the women's triple threat? That was the women's triple threat. I think a large part of that was down to the fact that it was 7 hours in. So, also it finished really odd because the referee just did not count it right. Jermaine says, Asuka versus Rhea this past year's WrestleMania was a disappointment. I didn't mind it. I think they've done worse since. So, I don't know. I think it's basically what I expected. You've got to remember, Rhea's fairly new to wrestling a lot of these people. It takes a while. J-Dub says, what was the question? We're looking at matches that were built big, but didn't live up to the hype. So matches that kind of disappointed. Megan says, how has no one mentioned Fiend versus Rollins in the cell? Fair. And Goldberg versus Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, or were they just low expectations going in? People had high expectations of the Fiend. I was not one of them. I don't think people had that high expectations of Goldberg versus Undertaker. I don't think people have ever really had high expectations of Goldberg. J-Dub, though, says Kevin Nash versus Goldberg. That was at a time that I do think people had high expectations of Goldberg way back when. And Matt suggests Sting versus Hogan Starrcade 97, which is very fair. They built that up for more than a year, and it was one of the dodgiest finishes in the goddamn world. Ed is saying the women's triple threat for WrestleMania 35 needed to be a singles match, either Becky versus Rousey or Rousey versus Charlotte again. The original plan was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. A lot of people always say Charlotte shouldn't have been in that match. She was added to it late. No, Becky was added to it late. Becky was the one who wasn't planned to be in that match. Charlotte was always going to be there. Dunbar said, as regards Goldberg versus Taker, he just had low expectations, which I think is fair. J-Dub with another Hogan one says, a finger poke of doom. That was such a good pin by John Morrison. Ricochet managing to get out of it by pure force of ab there. Ed suggests Sting versus Triple H. You're absolutely right there. What a dud that one was. See, this could be a YouTube video. This could be a great YouTube video. J-Dub says Hogan versus Warrior Part 2 in WCW. Yep, that one came down to a fireball that was a dud. And then the Warrior was hit with a chair and pinned. How they ever thought that Hogan should win that, I will never know. This is why people shouldn't have creative control. A noob also quite rightly saying Fiend versus Goldberg. Can I ask everyone a question here? Of all the matches the Fiend has had, how many have actually been enjoyable? I gotta be honest, I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. This whole Fiend run has been a big disappointment for me personally. I just haven't enjoyed it. A lot of Saudi Arabia hate here, all of which is for a very good reason. Okay, so apparently The Miz was blocking Ricochet off so that Morrison got a count-out win. I didn't see much blocking off. Jermaine says, how about Triple H and HBK versus Brothers of Destruction of Saudi Arabia? Yeah, that sucked balls. Which is even worse when you consider that the match that preceded it, Triple H versus Undertaker, was also crap. Eddie's saying all but two he enjoyed. I'd imagine that's the Seth one and the Goldberg one. Megan says Fiend versus Balor was good. I agree. The first match was very, very good. Matt says two matches with Bryan, one with KO on SmackDown, and the Finn match at SummerSlam. Fair enough. I don't remember Fiend versus Kevin Owens on SmackDown. Genuinely don't recall that. Yeah, there's a lot there that flatter to deceive. The Miz feud, for example, everyone seems to forget the Miz feud happening, and I think that's for a good reason. Jacob says, I know I'm going to get booed out of here, but I don't enjoy Bray Wyatt. Don't enjoy The Fiend. I enjoy Bray Wyatt. I don't enjoy The Fiend. On the first night of last year's draft, genuinely don't recall it. Genuinely no idea. Not even the slightest clue. We are just over half an hour into Raw. So far, we've had one promo and one match. And Ricochet has lost via countout to John Morrison. This will not keep viewers. Jinder Mahal rode in on a motorbike. We have an earlier today segment. He's there with his cronies, who it would have been easy to forget. They're not speaking English. I think that's good. Jinder looks like a big deal there. Wait me 1 second. Remember always that Jinder Mahal was released and then came back. Much like Drew McIntyre was released and then came back. Gives you hope for people like Zelina Vega. Gonna do it again. Sorry, guys. Jinder Mahal is annoyed at text speak. Jinder Mahal just said a superstar of his stature. I don't see it. Matt says, to be fair, Wyatt always has great matches with Bryan. I agree there, but I think that says more about Daniel Bryan, to be completely honest. Well, that's cool. Like it says, Fiend versus Owens is on YouTube for anyone who wants to watch it. Did it turn Owens face or heel? Because I don't know. No. God damn it, BT Sport. I'm going to miss this promo, aren't I? Oh, useless piece of technology. All right, let me catch up. Jermaine says, The Fiend had a few good matches. The problem is, ever since Alexa Bliss came over and took over his act, she became better than him in his own act. I'm not there for The Fiend. I'm definitely not. His matches with Orton just haven't been fun. I didn't enjoy the feud with Seth. And I don't know, it's just... He's not quite hit the heights that you'd expect of the fan response for me. And yeah, Alexa Bliss jumped to shock for me a while ago. Missed the entire promo there. Oh, look, Alexa Bliss is hovering in the background of Shayna Baszler. Imagine her doing that with a briefcase. Tonight, an 8-woman tag team match. Asuka, Naomi, Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss against Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Eva Marie, and Doudrop. I don't know if Doudrop is going to get on well with Nia Jax. They just don't seem to be particularly hype-worthy. Vabav says, one of the worst things in recent times was the red light matches of The Fiend. Yeah, they just didn't seem to know what they wanted to do with The Fiend. Just didn't seem to know what they wanted to do. Connecting People Who Wrestling welcomes the show. Says, not a fan of segments with Reginald. For some reason, Vince just loves this guy. Reginald's about to be in the next segment. I think that's going to be the 8-woman tag match, so it makes sense. But they can't get rid of him for some reason. It's a shame. Like, when they first brought him in to this partnership and he was doing the vignettes where they went shopping, that was fun. That was fun. I could have got behind that. But since then, he's just sort of been there for no reason. Bailey says that women's match is just a chance to get everyone else on the women's roster a run. You're not wrong. You are not wrong with that one. Same reason they have the Battle Royals at WrestleMania, just to get everyone on the card if possible. Noob says, fun shopping segment with Reginald. Yeah, the first one was really, really good. I'd have liked to do more, but they just didn't seem to want to do it. Connecting People says, red light matches were okay for me as a fan in the arenas. I saw at least one, maybe 3. It added something as opposed to taking away, in my opinion. See, I was at the arena during a SmackDown taping where The Fiend came out for a dark match against AJ Styles in the club. Live, the red lighting genuinely isn't that bad. It's genuinely not a real problem. Just on TV, it really screwed you up. It really screwed you up. But I agree with what you're saying there. And Matt says the red light doesn't work with the red cell. There's only been one cell match feature in the red light. I do feel it works against the participants as well. Seth Rollins has been open when he said that he did not know the red light was going to be staying. So he just had to wrestle the whole match in a red light, having no idea that it was coming. It was poorly produced. It was very poorly produced. Megan says, it's funny that you say that to Bailey, because it almost is every woman on the Raw roster currently. That's true. I think all you've got left is Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. And then obviously the championship feud. I think that's literally it. Bad. I don't think Brian wanted to use it for the strap match. Nobody wanted to use it. Literally nobody wanted to use that red light. And it just happened. And he says the red lights hurt my eyes. It was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. Jermaine says, I want Doudrop versus Nia Jax. Had the potential to be a female version of Big Show versus Braun Strowman or Big Show versus Mark Henry. I don't think many people were really excited by Big Show Mark Henry matches, even way back when. Braun Strowman maybe, because they were blooding a new guy. I think Doudrop will get there eventually, but for now, she's a heel, but not a heel. Like, she's aligned with a heel. She's a heel by association. And Connecting People says, I appreciate something different. I'd take red light matches over the constant camera cuts any day. Fair, and I think that's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. Sometimes you need to try different things. You need that variation. Now, it's not always going to work. It's not always going to work. But it's good to try new things every now and again. Just a shame it went that badly. I'm not saying why they brought it back for WrestleMania 37 is beyond me. Couldn't tell you. I think the idea was that they were supposed to be saying, we're bringing The Fiend back to what he was before, and then he lost. So, shit. Is that what he was before? Just shit. We're currently watching a recap of Kofi Kingston. His promo last week, talking about Xavier Woods, hyping up to what is likely to be our main event in the tag match. Megan says, yep, Mandy, Dana, Charlotte, and Rhea are all that's left. I'd imagine they're all going to feature this week then, because Natalya and Tamina are there. Connecting People for Wrestling says, I think Yokozuna versus Mabel was the first match I realized wasn't very good as a 10-year-old. It stays with you, doesn't it? That first match you watch where it's like, that's crap. That's awful. Sometimes people just have bad matches. I remember an Acolytes versus TNA. Do you remember TNA? Not TNA, T and A, the tag team, Test and Albert. I remember an Acolytes versus Test and Album match, which was just a couple of kicks, a couple of roundhouses, and then Bradshaw took over, clotheslined someone and said, yeah, it's over now. Sick of this. Even JR on commentary was like, this is a really ugly match. Good times. People hated the red light when they used it for Cain, and it didn't last long. Yeah, and then they brought it back. Northern Bear says, problem with Bray, they can only have one type of match. And this is very, very true. Bray himself, and of course the Fiend, are extremely limited as characters. They are limited in who they can have as opponents, and they're just limited in what they can deliver in ring. The Fiend suits what Bray Wyatt is limited to, but I don't know. The Fiend for me just isn't the guy. Jacob says, I just remembered on Bray Wyatt match, one Bray Wyatt match I enjoyed. The one versus Orton that was a cinematic funhouse match or whatever it was called. It was unique. That was the House of Horrors match. The House of Horrors match. That was an experience and a half. Shirley said New Day versus Lashley MVP match is a main event. Yeah, that's what I expected to be the main event. This is what I mean by that. They did that recap as main event hype. Matt says Mabel wasn't very good as a wrestler. Very true. Very true. It says, what was the point of Asuka dropping the Raw Women's title, only Asuka to cash in the Women's Money in the Bank? The point of Asuka dropping the Raw Women's Championship was so that somebody else could be champion, and Asuka is not winning the briefcase, and I don't believe Liv Morgan will either. I genuinely don't understand the question at this point. Yokozuna was okay. He was okay for the time. Vedab says, why WWE don't do a heel versus heel match? Because people would just leave. If you've got no one to root for, why would you care? Connecting People for Wrestling says, I remember being excited for the Mabel Yoko match. It was horrible. On another note, I'm all in for Kofi Mania 2.0. I don't see him winning, but I'm still very happy that it's happening. They have formally announced that it's Nikki Ash now rather than Nikki Cross. Chelsea says, what do you give the Kofi versus Lashley feud out of 10? I don't think it's really started yet. So at the moment, I'm going to give it a who knows. Fabab says, favorite fantasy match that didn't happen. Mine was Lesnar versus Mahal. Still Lesnar versus Lashley. Still very much that for me. Matt says, he thinks House of Horrors was terrible. No, was it a rematch? Yeah, we know it wasn't a rematch. Nobody said it was a rematch, Matt. Nobody mentioned that. Somebody enjoyed it. That means they enjoyed it. I get that you didn't, but it being for the title, literally neither here nor there. Nikki's gone into pure promo mode. Asuka looks awkward. Noob says, what about that swamp fight between Braun and the Fiend? It was a flustercluck. Yeah, it sucked. It was awful. There was nothing good there. There was a swamp fight between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. I should say the Fiend and Braun Strowman. It sucked. It basically was the end of cinematic matches for the WWE. It was that bad. Noob says, why do I get the feeling that Asuka is turning heel on Naomi? Because you're desperate for Asuka to have a good storyline. That's why you get that feeling. Menga says, I have purged all knowledge of any swamp fight. I give you credit for managing it. I've never been able to. Jill says, what actually is a swamp fight? It's a fight in a swamp. That's basically all I can say. Braun got drowned and then just came back the next week. Omos was there. Omos was there. Jermaine says, according to Peter Insider, Vince is a huge fan of the Eva and Doudrop storyline. I don't think we need Peter Insider to tell us that. They're on TV. I always find this the strangest thing when we get backstage insider reports telling us things that are really fucking obvious. People pay for that. People pay for that. Chelsea is asking what happens in it. Does Shrek show up? And Megan's very excited by that concept. Very excited indeed. So we have another commercial break before this match actually gets going. We came back, had a recap, a promo, and now here we are. Great. I kind of like Alexa Bliss's new music, but I will always miss her previous one. Well, the original one. It's Alexa Bliss, so walking. I always like random things like that. One of my favorite things was saying things to Roman Reigns' original theme. Roman Reigns is walking downstairs, because he would walk downstairs. Roman Reigns is in the crowd now, and you just keep going like that for a while. Matt says, if Cross does get called up in the draft, then I think we can say WWE doesn't want 2 Crosses on the main roster. That's actually a good comment. That's fair. They may just be changing Nikki Cross's name because Karrion Kross is coming. Or they may go full Iconics and we end up with Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross? Like Tom Cruise. It could be Karrion Kross. 100% a tweet that. 100%. That's a winner. Watch Karrion Kross come up to the main roster and be renamed Cruz. Good times. Good times. Thank you, Chelsea. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything though, does it? It's a WWE. They change everyone's name for no reason. And Bailey says, someone check the trademark database to see if WWE has added a few more names. True. They didn't. I don't think Terry Crews necessarily enjoyed that. Apollo. Chelsea says, random question, what happened to China and why did WWE release her? This is a really, really big answer. And I'm going to go ahead and not go too deeply into it. I'm also going to suggest that you don't Google it. Don't Google it. Okay? Just maybe just don't Google it. That's all I'm saying. If you're currently watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That's a big help to me and the channel. At the minute, we are currently sitting on 590 subscribers. We're trying to get to 600, so we only need 10 more. Every like means that this live stream goes a little bit further, just a little bit further, and could get us some more names. Oh, we're up to 592. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for your support. See, literally, every like helps that process and helps us find new subscribers. And that gets me closer and closer to making a living doing this full time. So please, any way you can help, pardon me, anything you can do to help, literally clicking like, just leaving the video on. If you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, popping open a tab with the other one, that would be fantastic as an option as well. And just silencing it. Post the YouTube link for anyone who doesn't have it. I'm going to do some retweets later on today, but it's a huge help to me, genuinely a huge help. So a massive thank you to everyone who has clicked like already. And in fact, is just sat watching on Twitch, on YouTube. Average viewership goes so far, and I'm so grateful to everyone who helps out. Jermaine says, I was thinking after the draft, we could see Eva and Doudrop on different brand from Nia Jax. Could very much happen, yeah. I think Nia Jax is going to SmackDown. I think Nia Jax is going to SmackDown so that Bianca Belair can body slam her. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, there are two ways this can go. Either Doudrop is going to pin Asuka, or Nikki Ash is going to pin Shayna Baszler. That's a positive. I'm glad you said that. If you've seen a lot of her movies, I'd be asking a few questions, mate. She did star in a movie with X-Pac. Yep. Never be able to look him in the eye. Not Bro Reed. Breed. They'll call him Breed. Oh, I feel dirty just saying it. They'll call him Breed. Ugh. Thank you very much for that response, Megan. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Oh, good times. Right, we know Eva Marie's not going to wrestle. Doudrop has changed her attire to go from a light blue to a darker purple. It's more heelish. And it also pairs up with Eva Marie a little bit better. Piper didn't need her. Eva Marie was unnecessary last week. Completely unnecessary. Matt says, Broken Skull sessions with Kevin Nash is this week. Oh, Kevin Nash, I mean, he says a lot of shit. That could be fun. Can you believe it's been 25 years since the formation of the NWO and people still talk about it today? Yep, can definitely believe that. Yep. 100%. Totally get it. I mean, Bischoff knew what he was getting from Japan, I tell you. Oh, missed one. Jill says, can't wait for Doudrop to win Money in the Bank. She's not in Money in the Bank, so don't know how that's going to play out. She's literally not in the match. Megan says, I would not be mad if Piper and Shayna team up to destroy everyone. That'd be cool. Not going to happen. Not going to. Alexa Bliss is just standing over everyone. She's got great balance. Oh, she's double-sided. That's clever. That's clever. She's double-sided. That's very clever. I just wish Eva Marie's wrestling. I mean, she wrestled. Is she going to break Asuka on Naomi? It's possible. I can see it happening. Okay, they're trying to isolate Eva Marie. Alexa's chasing her. She's stalking her. She just screamed at her. That was shit. And now Eva's laying on the... I'm sorry, what? That was what, 2 minutes between commercial breaks? What the hell? Yeah, that was like 2 minutes. That sucked. I mean, admittedly, it's a Money in the Bank advert on BT Sport, but still, very annoying. Very annoying. Jacob says, so far I'm not feeling this show at all. It's starting badly, isn't it? Like Ricochet Morrison, good match. Not the most exciting booking. This 8-woman tag. It's just all about Eva Marie being a coward. Baszler and Jax are just window dressing. They're just sort of there. We should be doing better. Bella says, why doesn't Raw go to picture-in-picture during commercial breaks like NXT does? Or does WWE not want to diminish ad buys? That's it, ad buys. WWE makes a lot of money from selling ad space during Raw, which is why there's just more and more and more commercial breaks. Just constantly more. Disagree, Matt. Raw's had one great week. I think it was great the night after Hell in a Cell. The night after Hell in a Cell, I think Raw was fantastic. Outside of that, I think Raw gets like 1 good hour per show at most. Chel says, what are you up to for your birthday? Hang out here on stream. That is genuinely it. That's genuinely it. As you guys know, been going through a bit of a rough time recently. Don't have that many people around me. So I will very much be here. My hope was, when I first started planning this about a month ago, my hope was that I could sort of play the birthday card and get my first hype train, which would have been fantastic and great fun. I've already had 2 now, though, because people picked up on that and decided to go for it anyway. But yeah, that's... I'm just going to try and do what I can do, you know? Try and have fun. Try and have fun. Yeah, as Ed rightly says, Raw ads cost more than NXT ads because of rating numbers. You can guarantee so many people will be watching the ad breaks, and that's what you sell commercial space based on, which is why the Super Bowl halftime, the commercial breaks there, they make a lot of money. A lot of money, because guaranteed millions upon millions of viewers. Jill says, I watched Hobbs and Shaw today. Could possibly be the worst and most unrealistic film I've ever seen. I see you've never seen The Flintstones. Megan says, I fast watched The Covenant to make sure I caught the start of Raw. Wished I hadn't now. Yeah. Never rush for Raw. The thing is, you could miss the first 2 hours and they'll just let you know. They'll recap you. I'm sure they'll pop in a few ads for Great American Bash, Matt. No doubt in my mind they'll pop a few in. Just to make sure they've got at least some audience. Okay, we're still wrestling. It is Piper Niven getting punched in the face by Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross tags in. This is going to end up being like a proper tag team, isn't it? Ooh, right on the coccyx. Right on the coccyx. Jel says, never seen the Flintstone. The Flintstones. Never seen the Flintstones. I get it. Ed suggests Masters of the Universe, then get back to me. We will never stop talking about Masters of the Universe, will we? That's on you. You should know better. You should know better. So after the football match on Saturday, I was wearing my white jeans. And the reason I've got white jeans is because of Mon Zermelo. Oh, poor Asuka. Poor Asuka. A respect between Piper and Nia. Yeah, I was wearing my white jeans, which I originally got for Mon Zermelo as a Eurovision thing. And I ran into a guy coming back from the pub as I walked home, and he was just singing away, and he wanted to say hi and hug everyone. Fair enough. He's drunk. That's what people do. But bless him, we went into a huge conversation about how it's okay for me to be gay because I was wearing white jeans. Bless him. Bless him. Also, fuck off. Bless him. Matt says NXT tomorrow is stacked. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Who? There's only one Scott in the match. Oh, Nikki Cross, of course. Nikki Cross, fair enough. Hang on. Matt, what's getting rebooted? Masters of the Universe? Because so I'm in. Michael is here. Welcome, Michael. How you doing, mate? Raw so far has been on TV. That's all I got. That's all I got. Google it. He's beautiful. Nikki and Piper indeed. Jermaine says that what I want is Doudrop and Nia Jax to form a tag team, the female version of the Natural Disasters. Please, WWE, make it happen. I don't think they need to focus on that same thing. I think that they'd be very, very good, but I don't know. It would remind me too much of Nia Jax and Tamina, which was okay, but they fell back on the same thing a bit too often. Everyone has got to be beatable. Everyone. Right, gotcha. Yeah, it sounds like a typical Raw. We will get Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles. We're also going to get Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. And we've got the New Day versus MVP and Bobby Lashley. We've got Charlotte Flair announcing a medical update, which is is what it is. More information from Megan. Animated series happening on Masters of the Universe. I'll try it. Like, I really enjoyed the Dark Crystal series. If you were creative, how do you reposition Shayna to be the superhero she was before? Or is that not happening? Oh, it's definitely not happening. She's just another person at the moment. She's just a body to fill the roster. In reality, it's very, very easy. The same way they relaunched Becky Lynch. You put her in singles matches, you have her win them. Week after week after week, she picks up wins. And then, when the opportunity comes, she gets into some sort of number one contendership tournament. She wins it. Then she gets a championship match. And you know what? She wins. That's all you need to do. You want Shayna Baszler to be a big deal again? Let her win a match. I like that. Just throwing Alexa Bliss about. No, but I expected it at WrestleMania. I expected it a while back, and they seem to just have kept going. Their storyline ended a long time ago. Like, a long time ago. They're just sort of still here. That says AJ versus Riddle will be good. It has been in the past, so I would expect so. Like it says, just book Shayna to annihilate everyone she comes across. Genders be damned. It would be that simple. It would be that simple. If you consider what they did for NXT to make Shayna a big deal, they just had her break Dakota Kai a few times. As Ed says, Shayna hurting a few enhancement talents in there too would be good. It would be. We've got Asuka and Shayna Baszler in the ring wrestling. This should be a big deal. They're two incredible submission wrestlers. It should be a big deal, and it's just not. I worry Shayna's about to get pinned again. Something was supposed to happen there. It didn't. It absolutely did not, but something was supposed to happen there. That's a botch. Piper's down. Nikki's going after Baszler. Everyone's attacking everyone. Things are picking up. I gotta say, things are picking up. I think Nia Jax just got tagged in. She did. Nikki Cross is going for the pin. Nikki versus Nia. No, she cannot. Samoan drop on Nikki. And Nia Jax pins Nikki Ash. Eva Marie's going to announce herself as a winner. Bailey says, does WWE consider Shayna too old to be a contender? No, not at all. It's not age-related. It's not age-related. It's just a case that... Honestly, I don't know. Shayna Baszler is literally Shayna Baszler. There's a hell of a lot that she could do. And they're not giving her anything to actually do. Not sure there, Matt. The difference is, when Triple H was booking Shayna in NXT, Shayna was the one and only. They weren't building anyone else. She was destroying everybody. She was literally destroying everybody. You can't do that on the main roster. You absolutely cannot do that, because then nobody else is really on TV. It's a lot easier to book in NXT. Let's not forget it. Jacob says, I stand by my comment from last week. Eva still can't wrestle. Now we know for sure. It depends if she's playing up to it. That's the thing. That's so much for that undefeated streak Nikki Cross was on. What was it? 2 matches? I wouldn't really call it an undefeated streak, to be completely honest. MVP and Bobby Lashley being interviewed backstage. MVP apparently the one who asked for it to be a tag match. Michael says, is Reginald still a thing? He is, and he's still being used to be hypnotized. Noob says, Eva Marie's a glory hog. True. And Matt says, Becky beat everyone while she was champion. Yeah, and the division suffered for it because when she was gone, suddenly there was no real Raw women's division. Suddenly you were having to bring over Banks and Bayley from the other side to keep things relevant. You had to bring in Rhea Ripley to be a genuine contender. It wasn't working. And people were turning on Becky. It's both. I have noticed that Bobby Lashley's doing a lot more talking nowadays. Just a lot more talking. There's not a soft bone in Lashley's body. He's talking a lot more and he's been very, very good at it. They're still talking about being the Hurt Business, even though it's not really happening. There isn't really a Hurt Business when it's just the two of them. Ali's wrestling. Okay. You've got me interested. Is this Mansoor? Is the match finally happening? It is sad when she comes back is when WWE will care about the division. Yeah, they care about people rather than divisions. Megan says, it's totally illogical for them to stand there and do nothing when Eva grabs a mic. I can assure you every woman I know would have rattled that mic right off her bounce. Especially with the characters that are established for Baszler and Jax. It is indeed Mansoor and Mustafa Ali up next. That's good. That's good. I'm intrigued. Bailey says, Eva Marie is going to hear it from the fans in the live shows and not in a good way. To be fair, she's supposed to. You're supposed to boo. It's one of those. The WWE are going to have no issue with Eva Marie getting booed. And Jacob says, Lashley has improved immensely on the mic. Kudos. He really has. He's picking his moments and he's picking his battles a little bit, but that's working. So I've got to give him credit for the improvement that he's made. And he's made a lot of it. He's made a lot of it. We have our next commercial break. The women's match was our second hour draw segment. And we are up to 594 subscribers, only 6 away from that 600. I think this is the time that I should be retweeting. I tweet announcing this show. Let's do that, shall we? Let's do that. 6 subscribers away on YouTube from 600, which would be a brand new record for the channel. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube, please remember to do so. It is easy enough to find. I will send you a link right there. That's on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, of course, you're already there. So please remember to click that subscribe button. Michael says, will Mansoor be a champion going into the Saudi show? I don't expect so. It's not impossible, though. I think Mansoor would be a good United States champion. I think it's also possible that they rebirth the Saudi Arabia championship, even though the current champion is not with the company anymore. Thank you for subscribing, Chill Gamer Mac. Thank you very much, Chill Gamer Mac, for subscribing to the YouTube. Megan says, booed, yes. I just wonder what and / worry the chant will be like for Piper. I hope the chant is just Piper Niven. Just chant her actual name. It's just a great way to send a message to the WWE and say, hey, fuck off with this shit. You know? You know? Right, Matt. Just realized that WWE had the people who aren't in the Money in the Bank match win tonight. Yeah. Asuka and Naomi have been losing pretty much non-stop. It's WWE. They'll get their heat back when they get into the match. It's a good call there, Megan. As regards Mansoor and the championship in Saudi Arabia, says I'd imagine it'd be more likely for him to become a champion rather than go in as one. The Saudi Arabia show is expected to be in November. Can Sheamus hold the championship that long? Honestly, I kind of think he could. Depends if we see Keith Lee. Didn't even know she was undefeated. Didn't even know. How long a streak has she got, Matt? Or did she have, I should say. Megan says, get them in front of the Brits, and that is exactly what will happen, especially in Glasgow. Eva won't know what hit her, and neither will WWE. To be fair, I believe there's a Glasgow show in September. I don't know if she'll be there, but I believe there's a Glasgow show. Imagine how happy Drew's going to be to get back there. Just imagine how happy he's going to be. Oh, so excited to see his little smiley face. He's so good, little smiley face. There is, but they haven't announced which roster is getting it. Got it. Bailey's asking our stat queen, when was Naomi's last win? She never seems to. True, she never seems to. They don't care about her. They'll forget she exists in a couple of months. Disappointing, but it is what it is. That's what the WWE do. They forget her. It's very disappointing. Matt is right here, Bailey, thinking about it. She did win the tag team match for the Money in the Bank qualifier. Singles, I have no idea. I have no recollection of it, but yeah. It was a case that she did win a tag team match a couple of weeks ago. We're getting a recap of the Battle Royal from last week. I am wondering if we'll see Jeff Hardy this week. Her last singles win was against Shayna. Of course it was against Shayna. Back in March. That was a while back. I like this storyline between Ali and Mansoor. I get the feeling if they tell it right, it could end up being another Nakamura Corbin sort of situation, where yes, we've had the matches too often, but it's actually created a lot of good momentum for both men. Raw has been okay so far. Ali versus Mansoor should take it up a gear. It really should. Really should. And away we go. Away we go. These two do feel like natural enemies. Definitely cult of personality, Matt. Definitely cult of personality. No question for me. It is iconic and definitely connected to him. Also, I know it for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, so I had a great time with it. What can I say? We're taking our time here, building nice and calm. I get the feeling these two are going to be in a lot of matches together very soon. Neither of them had an opportunity at the Money in the Bank. Honestly, Mansoor, since arriving on Raw, just hasn't been featured very much. He hasn't been able to gain any real momentum. This could change that. Megan brings the stats that I asked Matt for. If you don't include the Rumble, which is fair, Alexa hasn't lost since technically last September. There was a no contest against Asuka in January, though. Is that the one with Randy Orton? Yeah. I remember that. Good times. She came very close to becoming Raw Women's Champion that night. And in fact, the night before as well, the week before as well. It says, as regards Ali's line, I don't want you to end up like me. God, I love that line and storyline idea. It could work. It could work really well. Maybe 1 second. Okay. Okay. Oh, lovely. Inverted atomic drop into a spinebuster. That was smooth. These two just seem to be natural rivals. And I like that. Everything about them says we shouldn't like each other. And okay, that was terrible. That was terribly contrived by Ali. Guys, flip him back over. I'd imagine Ali's going to play possum here. Yep. Into a pin. And a free. You got to learn your lessons, kid. Jinder says, I'd be okay if these guys are packaged together as a tag team when the feud is done. I think they're going to be completely honest. For me, that makes sense. I think they're going to do that. That eventually we're going to end up having them as a tag team. A short match, but good forward progress. Like a nice step forward in the feud. Ali's taught him a lesson now. Maybe now he'll start listening. And I would like to remind everyone that tomorrow for the Great American Bash for NXT, we'll be hosting another watch party. But this time I will be joined by Ed Fries live right here in the chat. He will be in a bubble right here, and I'll be in a bubble right here, and all will be well indeed. So if you are watching NXT tomorrow, by all means, check out the Tom Collihue channels, both YouTube and Twitch, and see if you want to keep us some company. You guys have been really active so far today, and that's kept me constantly talking, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons we've gained so many YouTube subscribers so far. I've just never shut up. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal is next. Drew's right slap bang in the middle of the show, which is not a bad place to be. He's waving his sword about. It's not a precious family heirloom, that's Vince McMahon's sword. That's bullshitting off. Anyway. Oh, that's a good line. This is how you do the I'm the smarter evil git, like Charlotte and Rhea, only better. Yeah, that's basically how this is playing out. But they're not shoving it down our throats. You know? Ali won the match, Chelsea. Ali beat Mansoor. I've just seen Sarah Schreiber's face. She is enthralled by this bullshit. Megan, you must be so happy right now. Damn, this is a good promo, though. That was amazing. The salty bitch line as well. he's found his groove a lot more recently. He's just chilled out and relaxed and dominating everything. I can't help but love it. We have had a redemption from Michael to make a change. We're going full pirate. And that means that I'm going to get my pirate hat and I'm going to get my pirate sword. After all, we are hunting a Loch Ness monster, are we not? So hat and sword, and I'm ready to take me on a Nessie. Except I'm obviously not, because it's a wooden sword. Come here, Nessie. Let's make friends. This is going right up you. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a great time. I'm gonna get me a tooth and make me an actual proper sword. And finally grow me a manly beard. No, Megan, I need to grow a manly beard. Right, what we do? So what is Drew teaching this week? Promo class, basically. Okay. Great American Bash promo. Oh, Eli Drake's about to have a butler. Ooh. That at least gives me some indication as to what I'm actually going to be watching tomorrow. Usually I just wait for Ed to tell me. Works for me. It says, bewitched by the accent, this is a power we wield. Is it? Because I believe you should be streaming more of the power of that accent. Not true. She was having a great time. It says, I'll admit Scottish and English accents from the ladies do make me have the Sarah face. They are wonderful things. Anyone who comes for Nessie will have to deal with me, and my swords aren't wooden. I do have one metal one. I have one metal one. Matt says, I think Grimes is losing tomorrow. I agree. I think the same. And thank you very much, J-Dub, for the 10 bits. Much appreciated. Megan says, I need a better mic first. Yeah, a good microphone is worth its weight in gold. As Ed can also attest now. It really changes everything. Fair enough. I would imagine so. I mean, it's a big one. And Chelsea says, wait, what? They have the $1 million belt in NXT. They do. They've had it for a little while. One guy's held it, and the guy who he won it from is still the guy he's feuding with. Rematches. I don't have many. I think I have 3, one of which is this dodgy wooden one, and then one which is supposed to be like a Lord of the Rings sword, and then one which is a large letter opener. But I can still stab people with it. Jada quite rightly saying, nobody puts a butler stipulation in a match without it being used. You are not wrong. I definitely think he's going to end up with a butler. Definitely. It just makes sense. And I've only just heard of this stipulation. It's the first I've heard of it, because I don't watch NXT regularly. Ed keeps trying to make me. It's not happening. You may end up with shows hosted purely by Ed, but we don't really have the audience for him at the minute. Not many people here. How many people here actually watch NXT? Because we're going to do the watch party tomorrow. But I'm still trying to work out like how best to do it. It's a little less audience driven because we have a little less audience. So it becomes a bit more podcasty. All right, Michael watches NXT. Okay. I don't think we all do. Jada faithfully watches NXT every week. Megan watches it sometimes. I kind of expected originally that NXT would be more watched, but it kind of isn't in the Collar Unity, as it were. The good old Collar Unity. If anyone would like to join the Collar Unity, we have a Discord, which you can jump in very quickly and very easily just by clicking on the following link You'll get yourself an invite straight into the Discord where you can join the fun and talk wrestling pretty much non-stop. Mal says NXT is almost getting back to what made NXT great to begin with. They're about to take most of the big stars, so that's a shame. And Jada says, usually my favorite show of the week, followed closely by SmackDown, then Raw. And I'm not a religious watcher. SmackDown's still the A show for me. Jill says, I'm going to watch NXT now that I know the $1 million belt is on it. Yep, there's a $1 million belt. And there's an Eli Drake, or an LA Knight, I should say. Like an Arabian Night. Bailey says, I used to watch more NXT of Maro. I get that. Nearly fell off my chair. I get that. There's a lot of things that have changed. NXT is very fast moving. I watched it a lot more when it was Nakamura versus Samoa Joe, for example. But we are where we are. Jinder Mahal is really struggling to take his eyes off Drew. He's nervous. It's been a while since we've seen Jinder Mahal wrestle. Can he stand up to Drew McIntyre? He does have backup. We have to wonder how they're going to play into this. Drew's used to getting attacked from the outside. Do you remember seeing these guys in 3MB? Look at them now. Just look at them now. Just two absolute beefcakes. Pardon me. Matt says, not really a fan of Vic Joseph as a commentator. Much rather have Tom Phillips back. Well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe one day Tom Phillips will shock us all and come back. And he'll delete a few tweets. And he'll act like he was never anywhere else. I hope so. That would be amazing. That would be so good. On an unrelated note, Heat for Impact. I would love it. I would love it. Vibav says, totally unrelated to wrestling, but your thoughts on Virat Kohli. I have no idea who that is, basically. So I cannot give you an answer. It's not a name I know. Raid? Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. That didn't immediately pop up on my thing, but it's popped up now. Thank you. I did not immediately notice. Welcome, Corey. And welcome a party of 11 Raiders to the show. I hope everyone was having a great time in Corey's stream, watching, I'd imagine, play MLB. Our good old sports streams. We're kind of a sports stream here. We're currently watching WWE Raw. We're watching it live. I'm a pirate. For those who don't know, I am Tom Collihew. I am a variety streamer. We do Raw and SmackDown watch-alongs and wrestling news on Mondays and Fridays. We do Football Manager content on Tuesdays, Final Fantasy VII on Thursdays as well. Apparently, Corey, you just raided us again. I have on my feed Corey MLB's rating of a party of 11 and Corey MLB's rating of a party of 1 a little bit further down. I'd imagine you were trying to go for host there. Thank you very much, Corey. Welcome to the show, everyone. If you're watching WWE Raw, let me know what you think. And if you're not watching WWE Raw, let me know if that's the plan. Let me know if that's the plan, because it could still be a lot of fun. And you can always stick around even if you're not watching Raw for us to take the piss out of 3MBs, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, who are currently tossing each other around a ring. Just big sweaty dudes. Look at all the beef. Look at all the beef. Eddie's talking NXT Great American Bash. Card for tomorrow night is Cole versus O'Reilly. The Way Women, as in Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, versus Io and Zoe for the NXT Women's Tag Titles. MSK versus Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher for the NXT Tag Titles. LA Knight versus Grimes for the $1 Million Championship versus a Butlership. And possibly Cross versus Gargano for the NXT Championship. A busy card. A busy card. Ed has sorted out a shout out for Corey MLB, a long-time friend of the show. Above says, in my opinion, Mauro Ranallo's commentary on AJ versus Cena at the Rumble was so good. He did a lot to that match, like a lot. Bailey says, Raiders can sign up on YouTube too. You can. If you're a wrestling fan, our YouTube channel, the Tom Collihue YouTube channel, posts new wrestling news and analysis videos every single day. So you can check that out there if you are a fan as well. Thank you, Corey. I very much appreciate the raid. Thank you very much for it. So we are just past halfway through Raw. We still have New Day versus Hurt Business in our main event. We still have whatever's going on with Charlotte, which I'll imagine will be our third hour draw segment. And we still have potentially Jackson Riker. I don't want Jackson Riker. I don't want it. But we still are likely to have Jackson Riker. Not happy. Not happy. In addition to that, we are currently watching Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. A lot of action going on. A lot of action. A lot of good matches so far. I'm excited for Riddle versus Styles. I really am. And that's undoubtedly going to be our third hour now. So I've got that to look forward to. If you're new to the channel, by all means, shout out. Let us know you're here. Let me know your name and let me know what you like. Let me know how you enjoyed the previous stream. Matt says, Cross versus Gargano is not a match. They're having a face-off. And Hit Row will celebrate Swerve's title win from last week. So it's not like a pay-per-view card. There is still plenty of promos. Vaibhav says, your favorite sport? Well, I like wrestling and I like football. I'm also not bad at table tennis. Not bad at it. I'm not terrible. You know, it's one of those. I could be a lot worse. I could definitely be a lot worse. Looks that way, Corey. Definitely looks that way. Dominic Perez is here, says, do you know who's going to feud with Apollo? At the moment, I'm really not sure. The only logical option is Cesaro. So I think maybe Cesaro versus Apollo with Cesaro winning the IC championship. It would also be a good spectacle because Cesaro can manhandle Commander Aziz. So I don't know. Corey says, no problem at all. When you're sleeping, I got raided by 3 more people. Oh, you are a popular man today, Corey. Everyone's sending you the big raids. You must be growing very, very quickly. You'll be making money hand over fist here on Twitch in no time, mate. Well done. Well done and congratulations. Yeah, Matt says, it's a good question who's going to feud with Apollo. There's not many faces left on the SmackDown side. It kind of has to be Cesaro. The only other option maybe is Nakamura, but I'd rather he was feuding with Roman, to be completely honest. Or maybe Daniel Bryan will come back and beat up Apollo Crews. Maybe. You never can tell. You never can tell. Matove, a stat I wasn't ready to hear. Shayna Baszler hasn't won a singles match in over 140 days. 140 days is a real long time. Jada was giving us a theme change to Christmas, which means I have to run and quickly get me a Christmas jumper. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you in just a second with a Christmas jumper on. Hello again, all. Ooh, I missed Drew McIntyre getting kneed in the face. What a shame. So, we have rules here on Twitch. We have channel point options. I was a pirate for a while, thanks to Michael. And now J-Dub has decided that it's Christmas. So you know what? It's Christmas. I'm going to throw on the Christmas jumper. I'm going to look damn good doing it because it's actually really tight at the moment. I've gained weight since buying this. I enjoyed seeing Jinder Mahal just completely stand over the ref there. So I have an ugly, tight Christmas jumper. And people like seeing this shit. People pay their channel points for this. But if you are watching on YouTube, we don't have channel point options there. We will eventually have channel memberships and super chats and the like. But right now, We only have that option over on Twitch. If you do want to catch more of our spoiler warning shows, you can always follow us on Twitch. You can come straight across from YouTube. You can lurk, you can create an account and follow. You can do whatever you would like by popping over to twitch.tv/Tom Collihew. We make a lot more content there. A lot more content than just the shows that we do on YouTube. Let's catch up with the chat. Vivav says, why did Cain Velasquez run out of fuel very quickly? He was injured. He had a knee injury. When he signed with the company, he had a knee injury and he didn't tell anyone. So they had to really quickly go through the match so as not to aggravate it and then walk away. He's met with WWE several times with the intention of signing a new contract, but we're not there yet and they don't have the money. They don't have the money. Future Shock DDT, we're getting as with all Drew McIntyre matches recently, this is starting to shape up to be a really physical interaction. And I like that. Drew McIntyre doesn't pull his punches. He doesn't hold back. He just attacks people. He's going for the Claymore. He's in the corner. I imagine the backup are going to... Yep, there they are. The backup have got into the ring. Veer and Shanky have got into the ring and are attacking McIntyre. Given what Jinder Mahal said a little while back, given what Mahal said I think it was 2 weeks ago, this would be an ideal time to literally just destroy Drew McIntyre to try and eliminate him from the Money in the Bank match. Oh. Wiggly say, welcome, Wiggly. Says, I've had major issues tonight. What's going on, Wiggly? Tell us all about it. Tell us what's going on. Tell Tom. I stayed up just to see Asuka, and at that very moment my internet shut off. Had to change over to my new internet, right? So you've had a busy night, haven't you? Oh. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Drew McIntyre is on the ground, having been colashed. Mahal has run away. Mahal literally ran away there. Why did he run from the... Why did he literally run? Ugh. Had to connect it elsewhere in the house, but TV and consoles are all about internet now. Hopefully he can fix that tomorrow, mate. Hopefully he can get it all sorted and make it work out, because doesn't sound great. I'm hopeful then. I'm hopeful. My audio doesn't seem to be that big an issue here. I spent quite a bit of money on a good microphone, and it's paid off over the time. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Noob says, I'm watching Atypical, show on Netflix about an autistic high school student struggling with the challenges in life. There is a lot more good stuff now. That's why he ran. He thought the recap was already playing. Oh, Jinder stole the sword. He wants a trade, Money in the Bank for the sword. You can always rewind it, mate. Asuka was in the first hour. End of the first hour, but first hour nonetheless. And Matt says, anyone who's a fan of the old Superman movies from the 1970s, the director Richard Donner died today. Horrible to hear, but I believe he was in his 90s. And unfortunately, these things do happen. He did. He stole the sword and he ran off with it. We have more main event hype. The New Day being asked if they're going to change their tactics because now it's a tag match. Jada was enjoying the happiest backstage reporter of all time. He's just so happy to be there. He's just so happy to be there. Bless him. Bless him. I like that Kofi refuses to say Bobby. Calls him Bob Lashley. Kofi's really enjoying this. Matt says, I hope they don't have Jinder replace Drew in the Money in the Bank and have him win the title so they could do Drew versus Jinder for title. I hope not. I don't want it. I don't think it's going to be for the title, but we all knew this feud was coming. We all knew this feud was coming. Thank you, Vebav. I very much appreciate that. Thank you very kindly. I try and make the most entertaining streams that I can. And people seem to enjoy them, so I'm sticking around. So thank you. Welcome to the show. Thank you for asking questions and stuff. You got some really good conversations going. So thank you very much for being here. There's a lot of when I was WWE champion. Noob says Kevin Patrick is the best backstage reporter. I think they've got a good crowd now. I think they've got a good crowd. Megan says, I just want the New Day to be on screen as a trio again. Well, if you do follow and if you have subscribed to my YouTube, I've got a video out today that came out, well, I say today, technically yesterday, 6 p.m., about Big E moving back to Raw. So you may want to check that out. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Wiggly says, I'd be lying if I said my mind wasn't elsewhere other than wrestling. No prizes, guessing. Just have a horrible feeling Denmark will spring an upset. That's just called being aware of life, mate. You have to be aware of the opposition. Xavier Woods name drop in Breeze. Mace? Mason T-Bar. Retribution are going to have a quite short match here before Charlotte Flair is our third hour draw segment. Any update on Lesnar? Yes, bear with me while I find the relevant YouTube video about it. Yes, Matt, it was originally a one-on-one match, but it is no longer. They made that change earlier on today. So we've got videos. Look for the one on Brock. There it is. And then I'll link this onto the YouTube just for you. Vibav, here is my video on Brock Lesnar. This update was released on the 22nd of June. 22nd of June. I do suggest watching the videos because there's plenty of very good content in them. Not as bad as JR calling it WWE Dynamite. Nobody really cared about that, thankfully. Nobody really cared about that one. Denmark have been getting better as the tournament progressed, also have a decent record against us. Yeah, well, we're in the semi-finals. Everyone's good. Everyone's good. Noob says, T-Bar and Mace just exist. I get what you mean. They're just sort of there. I do wonder who's actually going to be facing. Viking Raiders? Be a good chance for Viking Raiders. Oh, Megatron is here, says hi. Welcome, Megatron. Ed also says hi back to you. Yeah, and as Matt says about JR, people had fun with it, including the Young Bucks. Nobody's, I don't think anybody's mad at JR. It's just something that happens, unfortunately. Ah, Noob, you're right. This is the ideal moment for a Lucha house party, isn't it? For them to do the job. Oh, well. Do you think they're ever going to be pushed again? Do you think they're ever going to be pushed again? A shame. Maybe asking for match suggestions of the last 10 years. The entirety of the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Yeah. The whole Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Check it out. It's great. It says they announced LA. Right, okay. I didn't spot that at the time. I'm having to try and do a lot of things. Thanks for letting me know. He's not. He's not. Vince doesn't even like him anymore. Yeah, got it. Okay, I just missed that. Just missed that. We have another commercial break. We'll have that match for 5-6 minutes, another commercial break, and then Charlotte and Rhea Ripley for that second hour draw segment. That leaves us with a few matches going into the end of the show. Thoughts on Triple H versus Lesnar at WrestleMania? That was a SummerSlam match, wasn't it? Triple H and Lesnar was a SummerSlam match, right? They didn't wrestle at WrestleMania. Mania 29. Didn't even know that was a thing. Genuinely can't remember it. So can't really share my thoughts. I remember the SummerSlam match. I remember watching that. Can't remember the WrestleMania 29 match. Oh. Well. Yep, no recollection. You've got to remember, I came back to wrestling around the time of WrestleMania 32. Until then, I really wasn't watching. Yeah, I came back in, and about a year later, I was working for PW Torch, which was a good time. A good time. And we are back on for Raw. Mason T-Bar described as intimidating figures. Lucha House Party definitely doing the job today, though. Well, all else fails. If they run out of people on 205, they can always send these back. That is, after all, where they came from. Let's have a look. I think it was the right result, and I don't think there was ever really much. Like, Keir Starmer's making a big deal out of it, but I don't really think it's a big deal. I think it's just normal service. Punk versus Ryback was such a wreck. Ryback in general was such a wreck. You have their campaigning, relieve Labour retained. Starmer and Labour have a lot to do. They do, because Labour right now is shit. Yeah, Noob. Ed and Megan have both confirmed that it was announced. So you were right, because they said it. A lovely image from Megan. Lucha House Party likes to be thrown about like empty tracksuits in a hurricane. I love it. That's a great image. Should be exactly accurate as well. Dijakovic already bored of taking bumps for Lucha House Party. Boot is right in the face. Only match on WrestleMania 29 was Punk versus Taker. Can't even remember the main event, to be honest. Wasn't there a Shield match at Mania 29? I swear there was a Shield match. When does Karrion Kross come to the main roster? Late August, early September. Late August, early September. Yes, I opened the show. Thank you. Probably not Wiggly, no. Probably not. You're not supposed to scalp, but people do. People do. That was the match where Rock got seriously injured, wasn't it? That is not true whatsoever. That is absolutely not even close to being true. Rock Cena 1 and 2 were some of the most popular matches the WWE has ever put on. I need you to stop thinking like you're the only person who is in the audience. Think about how many people love The Rock. How many people love John Cena? There are different target audiences to just what the target audience that you're in. Even Wiggly right here. Rock versus Cena 2 was needed. Omegatron says everyone wanted that. Webab says, going to sleep. It was fun talking to you about wrestling. And you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you again in future. J-Dub says, that is a crazy comment. That match was hyped. Rock versus Cena 2. Matt is now changing his story, not for the title. You didn't say title. You said nobody wanted the match. You said nobody wanted the match. Which is clear from everybody else is simply not the case. Oh, that was just a toss. Metally just getting thrown all over the place on the outside. Dorado on the inside, literally just getting launched. Wiggly says, Rock versus Cena was a storyline that played out over 3 WrestleManias. It was probably the last great feud WWE had. I think they've had some very good ones in the time, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And Jada says, title matches are not everything. It's true. It's true. True. Oh, God. The Rock's wrestling will be very, very sporadic at this point. Omega says it best. Didn't see that one coming. A Lucha House Party with the win. Beautiful. It's nice to get a few shocks like that sometimes. It's nice to get a few good moments. Both teams got to look strong there. Oh, missed one. Will says, no, but the title matches add a certain gravitas to a main event. Yeah, it's a main event of WrestleMania. You want it for the title. Megan says, I suppose it does say something for Mason T-Bar. Lucha House Party trusts them enough to launch them all over the place. I think they get told to do it, unfortunately. I don't think they get much choice in the matter. Omega enjoyed the match. Noob says, did Lucha House Party beat T-Bar Mace? Yeah. And Wiggly says, having 2 great superstars of all time go at it. Yeah, it was needed. People wanted it. Damian Priest has gone really pink. He's backstage talking to Matt Riddle, basically in place of Orton. Because AJ was annoyed that he lost last week. Ed says Daniel Bryan versus the 40 feud was after that, as was Taker versus Lesnar. Some good feuds, yeah. Real men wear whatever the fuck they want, basically. Very few superstars can close out a show like Mania and not have a title online. Very, very true. You think of Michaels versus Undertaker, for example, too. That makes perfect sense. No. How many times? Why would he be mad at Omos? There is literally no reason for it. There's got to be a reason to be mad at someone, mate. You don't just say, I'm angry at you. Why? No. It's not the way it goes. Thank you very much for following LS Angel 456. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the watch party. You will be getting a notification every time I go live for wrestling content Mondays and Fridays with spoiler warning. It's an I. Is Angel. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I don't want to get that wrong. So you'll get notifications for wrestling content Mondays and Fridays, Football Manager content on Tuesdays, and Final Fantasy VII. We are finishing that on Thursday, but we're still technically doing it, so you'll get a notification. Welcome to the show. Is Angel 456. Oh, missed one. Wiggly says Taker versus Lesnar was nowhere near hyped. It wasn't hyped enough, but he still delivered. Megan says, I would totally steal Priest shirt and necklace. No. Dave says, are we watching the same product? Something's going on outside. Wiggly says, isn't there a story as to why Juve wore pink? Originally was pink considered an aggressive colour? No idea. First I've heard of it. Pink's pink. It's just another colour. I don't understand a stigma or a non-stigma to it. Welcome. Switch to black and white due to the pink colour washing out easily. They still have a pink kit down there? I think they still have a pink kit. I feel like there's about to be a lightning strike somewhere. I know that seems like a ridiculous thing to say, but BT Sports has crashed. And again. Just play. It still surprised me. I'm watching on BT Sport, and they have Becky Lynch as the superstar on the picture. She's not been there forever, but she's still the image that was used to sell it. A shame. Something's going on. I feel like I'm being jolted a little bit. Maybe we are a thunderstorm coming. Would make sense. Matt says, didn't really care about Lesnar versus Taker that much because it should have been American Badass Undertaker, not Dead Man. It was just weird. Not many people are really behind the American Badass. I understand why they didn't keep it going. Yeah, the Hell in a Cell match in particular was very, very good. And of course, the SummerSlam match. Corey says, are you having an NXT watch party tomorrow? We are indeed doing that. So it'll be myself and it'll be Ed Fries, and it'll be throughout the entirety of Great American Bash. We'll be starting up just before, and you can join us right here on both YouTube and Twitch for that one. Noob has redeemed telling off for Vince McMahon. And guess what? It's about Asuka. I'm pretty much giving up my faith on Asuka. She has no character, no persona. If Asuka turns heel when live fans back, then I give up. Don't know what I'm telling off Vince McMahon for, Noob. What am I telling him off for? You've told me what you're thinking. What's the tell off for? I don't understand. Can you clarify a little bit for me, Noob? And Wiggly has redeemed a brand new 24/7 champion. So Wiggly Tough PhD is our new 24/7 champion, which means Corey, unfortunately, loses the championship to a brand new champion. Professor. I saw that. I read it. You want her to turn heel when fans come back? What's Vince McMahon done wrong there? What am I telling him off for? Yeah, they don't. WWE doesn't really care about Asuka anymore. Charlotte Flair is not the third hour draw segment. Unusual. Instead, AJ Styles versus Matt Riddle will be opening our third hour. Oh, Wiggly cares about Asuka. Wiggly cares about Asuka. I care about Asuka. The WWE seem to have completely given up on her. It's a crying shame, but it is what's happened. I mean, she and Naomi lost to Piper Niven last week. 2-on-1. They still couldn't get the job done. This is Asuka. Asuka used to be the biggest of deals, and yet here we are. Not reading that, Wiggly. That's weird. Like, you like who you like and all that, but maybe you should set your sights on someone you might actually have a chance to meet at some point in your life. It's very unlikely you're going to meet either Asuka or Hikaru Shida, and they'd be interested. Be realistic goals, realistic goals. Matt says, I love Asuka too. It's just I can't give WWE any chance of Asuka because I know they'll fuck it up. To be fair, Matt, I don't think you have faith in the WWE of anyone, literally anyone. Let me pick an example here. Can you think of a call-up from NXT who's delivered, who the WWE have done better things with than when they were in NXT? Can you give me an example of that? Oop, missed one. Cole versus O'Reilly will kill it. It absolutely will. It absolutely will. Matt has gone with Seth Rollins. Okay, so Seth Rollins. He came in with the Shield. He was obviously pushed very, very heavily, and he was not ruined in any way, shape, or form. 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Now, I've got a few other good examples here. Drew McIntyre says Wiggly. Great call. Drew McIntyre was subtly used. Kevin Owens there, Roman Reigns. Yeah, J-Dub says, some conversations on here feel like deja vu. Has anyone seen the movie Groundhog Day? I have. I know what you mean. Wiggly says, I think NXT is rubbish, to be honest. I think Ed's about to destroy you, mate. I think he's about to charge over and start beating you to death, to be completely honest. What he's actually said is Elias, which is, again, a very good call. So I've got a few names there, a few good names. The most recent one to be called up was Drew McIntyre. That's the most recent one. That's the most recent one. So I have to ask the question, when they were initially called up, would you have given them a chance? It's a difficult situation from where you're sitting, because when they were called up, when they were originally called up, knowing what we know now, would you actually have given them the same chance? You look at Seth Rollins, it took him 2.5 years to get to championship level, which is fair enough. Kevin Owens, it took a while to get him to championship level. I look at Elias, he's nowhere near championship level. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. There's a lot of people in this list who took a while to get there. Bayley, I think I don't think Bayley was ever really treated as a big deal until she turned heel. Sasha Banks, a lot of people are unhappy with the Sasha Banks booking because she can't keep a championship. Megan said Sami Zayn. I think that's a great call, but Sami Zayn, never been a world champion. He's been an IC champion briefly. Basically, his win-loss record is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So there's a lot of characters where it took them a long time. Becky, that's a great shout as well. I know you're just listing horsewomen at this point, J-Dub, but Becky's a great shout. She came into the main roster in 2015 and only actually started getting pushed in 2018. Only really started getting pushed in 2018. Sometimes you've just got to stop and give them a chance. I would agree Elias is a character of our direction. I think he's a man who really needs a crowd. Really needs a crowd. We will never know with Finn Balor. That's a very fair point. But I think he was over-pushed personally. That's what I'm saying. Give people time. Now, Asuka did start off with a solid push, but it didn't last. They brought her back to prominence when she won the championship against Becky Lynch, but then they took that away from her because of Becky Lynch forcing her way into the main event of WrestleMania. So there was a lot of moving parts there. Right now, she's not really got much of anything. Why? Because they're trying to push Piper. They're trying to push an NXT call-up, but almost everyone now is a former NXT call-up. Almost everyone has been called up. So the only way to push a call-up is to push them over a former call-up. Someone's got to lose in order to make someone else win. Okay. I'm just going to do the 24/7 championship because we had several people charging for it, and I respect that to the end of time. Love you guys. What have we got? Right. So Noob is our current 24/7 champion. Noob. Oh, that's not your name. __. and __ Co 1991, that's 2,992, don't know why I did that, is our new 24/7 champion after a real run of changes there. Corey regaining it, Wiggly regaining it, then Ed jumping in, then Corey one more time. Lot going on. But I've left this on the screen because Noob has redeemed once again a telling off of Vince McMahon, but this one is a bit more structured. You had a whole year to make Asuka a star, then you screwed up. When Becky comes back, how will Asuka explain? Okay, well, you've asked for a telling off, so we're going to give him a telling off. Just to be honest, mate, you're not giving me much to work with. He really doesn't, J-Duff. Vince, I know you're watching. And one thing Noob knows for certain, is that when Becky comes back, Asuka will have to explain herself. Nobody else knows that. But Noob knows that. And Noob's pissed off at you, Vince, because he knows what's coming. Asuka's had a whole year and more to make her a top-level star. You put her in matches with Sasha Banks, with Bayley. You didn't give her a clean win over Charlotte in that entire time. You gave her very little. You took a championship off her because she ran to help Kairi Sane. You made her look foolish. When Becky returns, Asuka is going to have a lot of explaining to do, and she's definitely going to do that. So Noob wants me to call you a bad Vince. Megan says, once the crowds come back, I can see Elias hitting his stride again. Same, definitely. Do you think there's racism in WWE? No, I know there's racism in WWE, and I know several people who will never stop with it. Matt says, Charlotte was immediately pushed upon her debut on the main roster. Yeah, and people hate her for it. Ed says, I love me some Elias. Hell, my Twitch profile picture is Elias and Angelo Dawkins. For the longest time, I thought that was Jay White. Don't know why. Looks nothing like him. The issue you've got there, Wiggly, is because of the asterisks you've put, I have no idea who you're talking about. No idea. A very fair comment from Megan. A very fair comment. A couple of bullet points is all I'm looking for, but I end up with a big script. Jada was saying, what's everyone's obsession of Asuka? She's basically been in the title picture on and off since she got here. She can't win every match. Well, not all. There's not much. It's not a situation where it's everyone's obsession with Asuka. There's one person who's really, 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 really obsessed with Asuka. There's one person who's just really, really there for Asuka. I think every telling off of Vince from Noob has been Asuka related. I think every single one. He's just a very passionate fan. And I don't want to sit here and say bad things because that's not the case. I like passionate fans. I like it. But I've cut the same promo on Vince every week for the past 4 months. Bad Vince. He's a bad Vince. Yeah, Matt makes a good point here. This is the same Kairi Sane who wrestled Pentagon Jr. in Lucha Underground. I need to get back into watching that. That sounds amazing. And she literally got thrown into a shutter, screamed Asuka's name, and that was that. Just finish the match first. No, J-Dub, telling off Vince can be of absolutely anything you'd like to tell off Vince for. I'll cut the promo based on what you give me. I wonder if WWE hadn't immediately pushed Charlotte on the main roster, would people think of her now? Yeah, if Becky Lynch was immediately pushed, she'd probably be hated now too. So, we are 10 minutes into our third hour. I've got to say, Raw hasn't been terrible. There's been a couple of new and different matches. We've had McIntyre versus Mahal. The 8-woman tag wasn't bad. It picked up a nice bit of momentum. And of course, we've got Riddle versus Styles. We've seen it before, but I'm happy seeing it again. Happy seeing it again. Can we watch it on Twitch as like a YouTube video style? Ed, I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to. Would you be able to give me a bit more context on that, please? If you want, a lot of what I say will likely be tongue-in-cheek if that happens, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Oh, bloody hell. Matt says, did AJ versus Riddle only happen once before this? I think it's happened twice. I think it's happened twice. They had a mini feud when he first came up to SmackDown. In what universe would Charlotte have not been pushed immediately? She's a wrestling equivalent of an old Etonian getting to Oxford, then a job in the city. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. Oh, Lucha Underground. We can, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't want to devote an entire show to watching a different wrestling show that you can, like... I don't know what I would bring to the table there. You know? I don't know what I would bring to that table. Noob says, I wonder if Charlotte's medical update is the segment before the main event. Seems very likely, considering we've only really got the segment before the main event to come. I would say it's likely. I'm getting that, Wiggly. I'm getting that. Oh, no, missed it. Michael says, Peter Insider reported that Tegan Nox and Toni Storm had a dark match before Raw. Doesn't surprise me. Tegan Nox is someone that NXT are really, really high on. She was the original first choice to take the championship away from Charlotte, but they chose to go a different way eventually. Toni Storm, we already know, is very, very likely to be called up. Very likely to be called up. And we have suspected for a while that the battery is Tegan Nox. I would say so, Matt. If she had a dark match, she's definitely been cleared. Not a clue. Not a clue on that one. I don't believe she's injured, but I don't know. Ooh. Again, I need to watch more Lucha Underground. It just sounds amazing. Oh, there you go. Noob says, as regards Hikaru Shida, she's on AW Dark and Dark Elevation. So she's just dropped down the rung a little bit. Due to a distraction from the Viking Raiders, Matt Riddle has beaten AJ Styles. And the Viking Raiders are walking out with Matt Riddle. I can't work out who the heels are anymore. Right. Bailey suggests they should reunite Tegan and Dakota Kai as a face team. I could see it. I do feel they need to call up Dakota Kai. They need the people. You want to predict the score? 2-1 to England. And then we lose to Italy. Megatron says, I'm so excited for Tegan to come back. It's happening. It's happening. Jermaine says, something tells me Jinder takes Riddle's spot at Money in the Bank because of AJ Styles. Which sets up AJ and, pardon me, Omos versus RK Bro. I don't understand Jinder taking Riddle's spot. I don't understand the connection, personally. Megan says, AJ and Riddle have faced each other before last June, July on SmackDown, then again on Raw last October. So there have been a few times then. Have been a few times. Thank you very much, Stat Queen. Up next is our medical update. Matt says, I can see Viking Raiders versus Styles and Moss happening at Money in the Bank. None of them are in Money in the Bank. That makes sense to me. Yeah, that wouldn't be difficult. Literally just fast forward all of his matches, because I've never watched a Joey Ryan match because I didn't want to watch the whole penis flips before everyone was saying, oh, we need to speak out about this. It was always wrong. It was always wrong. How Nobody accepted this. I will never know. It was always wrong. When did that happen? I can't remember that happening, noob. Let me know when that happened. Wiggly, you believe we'll win everything. Just calm down. Just calm down. Jermaine says, I can see Toni Storm, Tegan Nox, and Shotzi Blackheart as part of SmackDown Women's Division after the draft. I would swap Shotzi for Ember Moon, and I think Toni Storm would go to Raw. I think she would go to Raw instead. I have not seen that film, Wiggly. I have not. I think what he means is if AJ beats up Riddle, Jinder will take his spot. Riddle can't go. Why would Jinder take the spot, though? Why Jinder? Surely then it would be maybe a Jeff Hardy or someone. Or at least a match. At least a match. This has moved slightly too fast for me, and I've lost track. What did they say in commentary 2? And Megatron says, thoughts on New Day being ranked number 1 all time. I accept that. I think that's right. New Day have been incredibly entertaining for almost a decade now. I've really enjoyed it. The more the merrier. I do think they've been the best tag team for a long time, and there is definitely recency bias at play, but I have recency bias too. I agree. I genuinely agree. You're saying you don't know when, like, you're trying to explain to me because I don't know. Can we just accept that neither of us know? We could just do that. Right, got it. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Well, then, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Noob says, as long as Jeff Hardy doesn't do a crazy ladder spot from Armageddon 2006 at Money in the Bank, or all of the 50,000 other crazy ladder spots that Jeff Hardy has done over the years, that man basically is in a one-way suicide mission. Nope, Matt, WWE definitely knows. They have a plan. They already know who's going to win the match, so they know who they want to be in the match. WWE don't make it up the minute before it happens. When it comes to pay-per-views, they know who's in the match. They know who's going to win the match. It's not a case where they just go in before the actual event and say, oh, we need to change everyone. They'll occasionally make a late change, but they still have a plan. They don't go in blind. They still have a plan. They just can change the plan. If you are currently watching over on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That helps this channel reach a new audience. That helps me find extra subscribers because we're at the minute trying to reach 600. During this stream, we've gone up to 595. We've dropped down again to 593, but that is still a gain of 3 subscribers. Every little helps, and I'm getting closer and closer to a level at which I might actually be making money covering wrestling. Twitch has been very, very good to me, and there's a number of people who've been incredibly generous. Chelsea, for example, has been very generous during this stream and given quite a lot. We've got a lot of subscribers here and people who've got gift subs because they've been gifted subs along the way. If we can get YouTube to that level as well, we're laughing. And by laughing, I mean we're just happy. Just happy. Having a good time. Having a good time. As regards Jeff, it's going to be the first time in front of a crowd, so he's yeeting himself, I reckon, for that epic pop moment. Jeff Hardy would go for that epic pop if there was only 4 people in the entire goddamn building. Jeff Hardy will literally kill himself on a ladder spot and he'll go out proudly. Speaking of WWE's pay-per-view plans, does Sasha Banks return to interfere in the I Quit match? Nope, she returns before the I Quit match, 2 days before on SmackDown. I've got a full video on YouTube about when Sasha Banks will be returning and what she'll be doing if you'd like to check that out. I know. I know. It's disappointing, isn't it? She's not going to miss Money in the Bank. Bullshit. Hello, Kava. I'm doing okay, thank you. I'm doing okay. I've had a good weekend. Today's been a little bit up and down, but I'm doing okay. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Who says Charlotte Flair doesn't have the pink suit but a purple dress. Could still work. She's got a queen belt on. Does love a crop top. Wish I had that confidence. When you're a performer like that and you're on TV all the time, you do gain confidence. I've gained confidence by streaming. Like, I've genuinely gained a lot of confidence because I look at this in a mirror and I think that is a horrible, horrible thing that I'm having to deal with. It's a horrible experience. I'm just having to look at me. And yet you guys are still here. So I can't not be more confident there. Omega says, who pied Kevin Owens? Stephanie. It's always been Stephanie. Welcome to the show, Cavo. Are you watching Raw today? I might believe more if she wasn't wearing stilettos. I told you she'd be wearing heels. It's Charlotte Flair. Oh. Okay. All right, I like that. Rhea Ripley just solidly taking the piss. Just solidly taking the piss. I like it. Matt, what's your issue, mate? We're only asking about a cream pie. Who did Kevin Owens get a cream pie from? It was all over his face. It was a mess. He was just covered in it. It was in his eyes. You never want it in your eyes. Okay? It really digs in there. Oh, I recall that. She was a bad guy then. Who the hell knows what she is now? Possibly, but doesn't she have like 100 viewers already? She has 107 viewers, mate. She has 107 viewers. That we're a drop in the ocean for that. She's partner already, basically. I appreciate the offer, and I think that's a good shout. I follow Brandy Lauren already. But yeah, she's on over 100 viewers already. She'll barely even notice. What's the DQ at Money in the Bank? Something's going to happen here, I'm sure. Now, they're both still going to Money in the Bank. I am a professional, Matt. I'm a professional. Yeah, we're not, but that's not going to happen. All right, we'll give it a try. We will give it a try. We will raid Brandy Lauren. That says Rhea versus Charlotte in a crutch on a pole match. Don't say it. Just don't say it. Oh, look. Nobody's hurt. What a surprise. Oh, they're just going to beat the shit out of each other. Okay. I'm interested now. They're just going to beat the shit out of each other. Wow, this is terrible. Ugh. Oh, this isn't good. Don't be afraid, Rio. I don't like it when you're afraid. She's literally going massively overhead. Just block it. You could literally block it with your arm. I mean, it wasn't the greatest segment. It wasn't the greatest segment. It wasn't terrible. Jewel of the face. Oh, shout. Good shout. So that happened. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. That was better than it had any right to be. R-Truth and Jackson Riker versus Elias and Cedric Alexander. Jesus Christ. This better be over soon. They're dragging R-Truth into it now. Yep, Bailey, that was it. That was the entire medical issue. Yeah, it was always going to be a trap. It was always going to be a trap. You missed Charlotte and Rhea Ripley having a lightsaber duel. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You missed out. That's going to be in my head all night now. I say all night. It's literally 3:30. I'm going to be asleep very soon. Oh, it's definitely happening. That is definitely happening. I'm not against it. I'm going to sit here and honestly say I enjoyed that segment. I genuinely enjoyed it. I feel they did okay. Could have been a lot worse, let's be honest. Which is usually my bar, to be completely blunt. Could it have been a lot worse? Yes. Okay. I know that. I'm literally humming along to it. Oh, it's Black Widow this week. Oh. Forgot about that. Hopefully you'll be able to fix it, Wiggly. Fingers crossed. So, once we're back, it'll be a half hour. We've got 2 matches, both tag team matches. Hopefully Jackson Riker isn't on my screen for too long. I can't imagine he's going to be there for more than 5 minutes. They'll then do a promo for someone and let that go. My bad, Megan. Thank you for reminding me. Megan has indeed spent channel points to become the new 24/7 champion. Yeah, I've got the activity feed here, just up here. Because I'm in StreamYard, I don't have the feed coming down the side that I usually do. So I just need to keep track, because if we look at, for example, 24/7 champion, 24/7 champion, 24/7 champion, it's hard sometimes to know for certain. It's really hard sometimes. Yes. Megan Sittin, our new 24/7 champion. Well done, Megan. A lot of people coming after that championship now. Yeah, what have you put him? I have no idea what? Okay, Matt, why have you put that in the Discord? I don't understand. We are heading into our final half hour. We still have Hurt Business versus A New Day. And of course, we have R-Truth involved. Maybe this will end with Jackson Riker. Jackson Riker as the 24/7 champion. Rhea Ripley, Ricochet, and on Raw Talk, the winners of the main event. I'm not going to watch the video. I'm currently hosting a stream. Seems fair. I respect it. You are, after all, our stat queen. Nearly put an R in there for no reason. Stat queen. Stat queen. Elias just doesn't look the same without a guitar. The piping in the booze. 2 more weeks. As soon as Jackson Riker walks out in front of a live crowd, they're going to shit all over him. It's going to be amazing. Very excited for it. T-minus 2 weeks until live crowds shit all over Jackson Riker. Can't wait. Can't wait. He kind of doesn't. We very rarely see him walk down a ramp. Usually instead, he's in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. Elias. Billing. I put reverb on that. I'm very happy about it. So even though Jackson Riker got the win, they're still going. Cedric Alexander's on TV. Damien Priest not wrestling again. Jeff Hardy not on TV again. But hey, Jinder Mahal's there. Piping in big cheers for Jackson Riker. Hey, we're as close as you're going to get to Independence Day. Surely everyone's going to cheer Jackson Riker on Independence Day. He's American. Megan says, oh, Riker is getting booed out of the building, the city, the district, the county, the state, the time zone. I know America breaks down regions, but there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot. There will be. No idea what you mean there. Still think he looks like a bargain basement Batista. It's the pectoral muscle, isn't it? They stand out, and not in a good way. What's the end game with Jackson Riker? Championship reigns, top level guy. But that's the end game with every single wrestler that the WWE hires. Genuinely every single one. They don't hire someone without expecting them to be a future world champion. That's how the WWE operates. The intention is always to take everyone and make them as big as possible. Usually they do. Usually they do. I'm surprised we got nothing. That says Bella beat Bailey. They're still doing the feud, kind of like, right, gotcha. Gotcha. No, you're absolutely right there. Jackson Riker. I don't see Mr. T with Jackson Riker. It is absolutely no surprise to me that Tozawa, for some reason, has ran into the ring with the championship towards R-Truth. Oh, here come the jobbers. Shelton Benjamin just ran past Cedric Alexander. Do you remember when they were feuding? They don't. R-Truth has left. Right, so I guess Jackson Riker's going to be winning a handicap match. The issues they've got, Noob, is that any time Truth is in a wrestling match, they're going to do this. He's Mr. 24/7 now. Keith Lee status, unavailable. That is the only word you will get from anybody about Keith Lee's status. I'm going to be very clear on that. Maybe WWE no longer American because their favorite president is no longer in the White House. No, they're still very much American. They're always going to be. Is that a lump on Riker's right thigh? Is that just a big lump on his thigh? There's something there. Oh, Elias is leaving now. So it's going to be a one-on-one match in the end anyway. What the fuck is the point of this? This is full-on bullshit. Oh, immediate finisher. Cedric Alexander's just going to lose. He will, I'm sure. Pretty much, yep. Cedric Alexander lost to one move. So much for his any push that he's getting. Ugh. Genuinely feel bad for Cedric. Elias and Jackson Riker have been second to last for months now. I don't know why, but they have been. It's not a star-making position. Nobody watches at this point in the show. Nobody. Well, comparatively nobody. Why is Vince McMahon so bad at handling some of the NXT superstars? He's looking for well-rounded characters. NXT aren't quite giving him that. He's also he can't create compelling storylines for every one of them. He interferes a bit too much. And it's also worth pointing out that at this point, NXT superstars can only really fight other NXT superstars because basically everyone's a former NXT superstar. Riker beating Cedric, that's going to go over well with people, especially after what Riker had a few months ago. We'll see. We'll see. It was political, and I don't believe that Cedric is political. So I don't see there's any issue between Jackson Riker and Cedric Alexander. And Megan says, Cedric deserves better than this pish. I like Cedric. Thank you very much for the follow, Arsenal1457. By your name, I'm guessing you're a football fan. So I would imagine you will enjoy our Football Manager streams, which are on Tuesdays and will be happening tomorrow while the football is on as well in a dual stream. If you're here for wrestling, wrestling is on Mondays and Fridays. We do live watch parties for Raw and for SmackDown and our special spoiler warning news show as well. Thank you, Arsenal1457, for the follow and welcome to the show. Jacob says, I'd be okay if Lashley remained champ well beyond Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. I expect he's going to be champion for a while yet, yeah. I'm hoping after SummerSlam we get the feud between Lashley and Big E. I'd like it. I'd like it. Couldn't tell you, Wiggly, but it sounds like you're having a really rough time, and I'm sorry to hear that. A lot of people think that. A lot of people do think that. We will be doing a live NXT watch party tomorrow, by the way, purely for Great American Bash, which is literally being advertised as I say that. Great American Bash is tomorrow. Myself and my colleague Ed Fries, who is here in the chat with us, will be live on screen for your viewing pleasure. So we'd love it if you can join us for NXT tomorrow. Wiggly said, I can see a Lashley versus Goldberg match on the horizon. Dave Meltzer has said that that is likely to happen. Goldberg, I still believe they're holding a match for Saudi Arabia, but who knows? Who knows? Lauren Hutton is here, says, where is Orton? I don't know. I believe he's probably self-isolating. I find that more likely than anything, but that is speculation on my part. That is not a news report. I believe he's self-isolating and will be back next week. How am I? I'm all right, thank you. How are you? I hope you're good. Welcome to the show. I'm okay. I'm okay. I've had good times and bad times, and I've had a good weekend. 8-out WWE pissed on Starrcade making it a house show. They own the name, so they can do whatever they want with it. It's still quite annoying, though. It's still quite annoying. Lauren says, Raw is bad as usual. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible. There's certainly bad moments and bad things happening, though. Spanners, utility players, spanners, I get it. Wiggly said, is Bray going to return? Yes, soon. People aren't suggesting that. One person is suggesting that, and people have decided to re-suggest that. And we don't trust those people. Lauren says, no, not Goldberg versus Lashley. They are trying to find a marquee match for Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. This is one of the reasons that they've got the possibility of Drew McIntyre being there as a backup. They contacted Lesnar, but Lesnar doesn't seem particularly interested in a match with Bobby Lashley. There's a lot going on. Goldberg would be an option, and it might be necessary. You're tired. Fair enough. I don't know whereabouts you are in the world. Where I am, it is currently 20 to 4 a.m. So I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, you pick up the individual terminology, don't you? Matt, no, they won't, because CM Punk for years has said he's not coming back, and people are still desperately saying, when's CM Punk coming back? He's not. No, Lauren, I think he's possibly self-isolating. He may have just missed the flight or just be taking some time off. He does have a limited date contract. He does have a limited date contract, which means he doesn't have to work every week if he doesn't want to. Thoughts on Moose? Looks like he's a nice big deal. Does very well for Impact. Wouldn't want him in WWE personally. I think he does a great job where he is. I don't see any storyline reason for that. Although, to be fair, would be quite fun. Would be quite a fun one. WWE messed up on live events returning next week. How so? How did they mess up? I don't understand. Megan also wants no more Goldberg. Lauren is saying, imagine a Riddle heel turn. Yeah, that's exactly what I expect. This last hour of Raw was god-awful, thank God for the main event, but I don't think that's good enough to save this last hour of Raw. The last hour for the last few months has been terrible. The last hour is always a trouble spot. We had a good main event last week, which redeemed it a little, but we are where we are. Yeah, reports are that Bray Wyatt would be returning on August 9th. Matt says, I hope Tommy End goes to New Japan. I agree. Lauren is saying, isn't Orton full-time? Yes, on a limited date contract. I believe it's like he only has to work 200 dates, as opposed to the 300 or so that other people do. Because the live events are in 2 weeks. I still don't quite understand why you think they've made the mistake there. Ooh. Next week, Ricochet and John Morrison will have a final for their feud. Falls count anywhere. Could be fun. Sheamus has been cleared. Carrillo will take on Sheamus next week in a United States Championship match. Could be fun. According to Riddle's tweets, Orton hasn't texted him back. Yeah, that's nothing to go by. We are never going to trust anything that Riddle says, let's be honest. Yeah, the rumor is Cena versus Roman at SummerSlam. You're entitled to your opinion there, Lauren. Other people have different opinions, but you're entitled to yours. Oh, next week we will have Eric versus Omos and Ivar versus AJ Styles. And in 2 weeks, so the night after Money in the Bank, we will have the Tag Team Championship match, Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders. About time. Megan says, if I was Orton, I'd be enjoying time with my family before going back on the road, especially with summer holidays just starting. That is very possibly exactly what's happening. As I say, he works a limited day contract. He doesn't always have to be there. And he may have just asked for some time off. There's plenty of possibilities. I agree. Weird graphic. Weird graphic. Lauren says, why are the tag titles being defended on Raw instead of a pay-per-view? Because the pay-per-views are far too long. The pay-per-views are just far too long. They don't want to make them 4 hours again, so they do overflow matches. Matches that don't make the pay-per-view, that aren't important enough to make the pay-per-view, happen on the Raw or the SmackDown in and around the pay-per-view. It's been happening for the last few months. Yes, Vibe, I know that he exists. It's going to be a great Raw next week, says Corey. I think they've given us some good choices there. Michael says, have a good one, Tom. See you later. Have a good night, Michael. Thank you very much for joining us. Was I blocked by any WWE stars? Nope. I was blocked briefly by Ty Dillinger and then unblocked by Ty Dillinger for a complete misunderstanding. Bailey says, roughly how many performers have Orton's type of limited date contracts? Off the top of my head, it would be Orton, Daniel Bryan. Who's the other one? AJ Styles. It would be those three that had them to my knowledge. Edge doesn't have that contract. He has a very, very different contract, but it is also limited date. The Usos also have a limited date contract. The Usos are on limited date as well. Edge does not have the same contract. It is a limited date, but it is not the same contract. It's a very different limited date contract. Jermaine says, well, that is why I think Big E is winning Money in the Bank, cashing in on Bobby Lashley to get back at Bobby Lashley for destroying his New Day brothers and becoming a champion in the process. Doesn't need the briefcase for that. Doesn't need the briefcase. He can literally just come in on a brand in the draft, go over to the other side, and walk up to Bobby Lashley and say, you attacked my friend, now I'm going to attack you. Doesn't need the briefcase for that. Yes, Wiggly, this is the last live episode of the Thunderdome. Corey says, one more week until his birthday. 2 days left until mine. 2 days. Bloody hell, that's a list. Roman does not work a limited day contract. Roman is not a limited day contract. He is a full-time contract. He took a long period of time off. Not part of his contractual obligations. When the day comes, who will replace Vince? I absolutely cannot answer that. is most likely right now to be Nick Khan. Nick Khan is the second in line and would immediately take over if there was an issue now. Cena does not have anything close to a limited date contract. He has a Legends contract. Matt says he's blocked by JBL, Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, and Malcolm Bivens. How did you do that? Wiggly says I once got blocked by Scott Hall. I've never been blocked by any wrestlers other than the misunderstanding with Ty Dillinger. No, I will, Corey. I will be live every day this week apart from possibly Saturday. But I will be technically live on Saturday my time because we'll be doing the SmackDown watch along. Lauren says, do you agree that New Day is the greatest tag team of all time? I don't. I do. For calling out Hall over his criticism of Goldberg. Here's what it is. What about Sasha's contract? Limited date, or was this time to do more movie work? She works a full-time contract. The WWE give her time off for things which benefit the WWE. That is the same of every wrestler. Dean Ambrose spoke openly about potentially working a film and getting time off because of it. Any draft predictions? I have a YouTube video about my draft predictions, actually. So if you check my YouTube, there is a video with 10 draft predictions. I think actually, no, 12 draft predictions that you can check out, and you can watch that. And it will give you all the answers there. I will be 33 on Wednesday. 33 on Wednesday. But I'll try and remember that for if you pop in on next Monday. Yeah, Matt Riley saying, Roman not wrestling every week is part of a character. It is. He's not working limited date. He's just his overall character avoids wrestling on SmackDown. Whereas Steph and Shane being at home. Megan says only 7 months before my birthday. No time at all. No time at all. Maria did not block me. That's not a thing that's happened. Maria has not blocked me. Connecting People says my B-Day is the 11th. Lots of July birthdays. Lots of July birthdays. Jacob says, what would you have to do to get blocked by someone? Not sure I'd wear that like a badge of honor. Well, it depends on the individual situation. Ultimately, they're still people and people can be dicks, so it can be their fault. But I also once knew someone who was really, really proud of the fact that they'd been blocked by CM Punk. When I asked them how they got blocked by CM Punk, they said it was because they kept calling him a dickhead. Right, so he should have blocked you then. Well, no, why can't he take me abusing him? Because he doesn't have to. Technically, yes, but the actual birthday bash will not be the Great American Bash. During the Great American Bash, I will not be celebrating my birthday. I'll be celebrating it on the Wednesday. Lauren says, you don't think Cena will ever be full-time again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Matt, do you know when Wiggly was blocked? I don't believe he said that. So you're making an assumption there. I see you've said this twice, Vibe, but I don't know how you want me to respond to it. Yes, that would be great. Not a limited contract, Lauren. A Legends contract. Not a limited contract. It's a very, very different thing. Wow, July is really a busy one for you, Megan. Jermaine says, if WWE can't get Brock Lesnar, and I really don't want them to do Drew McIntyre, I can see WWE trying to figure out a way to have Big E versus Bobby Lashley for the title at SummerSlam. Don't need it. Give us Kofi again. Just give us a second month of Kofi Kingston versus Bobby Lashley. Extend the feud that way. And then before you know it, then you'll have Big E coming across after SummerSlam and taking that spot. Sometimes it's a lot easier than it should be. Same. For good reason. Says I got blocked by Orton on Instagram. Honestly, I think it was his wife, Kim. She doesn't like his female fans, and I'm still his follower on Twitter. I wouldn't know. Genuinely wouldn't know. Blocked by Punk on Twitter. A lot of people are blocked by Punk on Twitter. He blocks if people annoy him, and he's a bit irritable sometimes. Okay, so Lauren said, Drew shouldn't get another shot at the title. Cena should. Welcome SummerSlam. That's exactly what's going to happen. Cena, I don't think will ever win a top-level championship again, not a world championship. Ooh. We have 10 minutes left. We're about to go into another commercial break. As you may have noticed, I'm struggling a little bit to keep up with this chat. Fantastic. It's good to see how busy we are today. Thank you, everyone who's come by. We've only got 10 minutes left, and I honestly haven't watched any of the match so far. So this has been a great watch-along. It's great to see us growing so quickly and so strongly. And thank you very much, Corey, for the retweet. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really enjoying these watch-alongs, these watch parties. If you are watching on YouTube, please do remember to click the like button. That really does help us grow. And if you are watching on Twitch and you haven't followed yet, what are you waiting for? Click follow, and before you know it, you'll get a notification every time we go live for wrestling on Mondays and Fridays and for gaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So keep an eye out for that. Lawrence says Cena should have just retired instead of getting a legend contract. Quick question, Lauren, because I'm very confused by this. You said Cena should have just retired, but you also said Cena should get another shot at the title. I'm not sure I see how both of those reconcile. Matt says, why should Cena get the title match? Because he's John fucking Cena. I think that's basically the entire reason, to be completely honest. Because I don't know. Yes, Lauren, that is exactly what I expect. Who do I think will break Ric Flair's record? Charlotte. I think Charlotte will break Ric Flair's record. I have been told several times over the years that Cena has no interest in breaking Ric Flair's record and has no intention of doing so. RK Bro storyline reminds you of Trish and Mickey. I see that. But Trish never accepted Mickey, whereas Randy Orton begrudgingly does so. Connecting People says, you think Kofi wins at Money in the Bank to create a true face champion? No, absolutely not. I think Kofi gets beaten by Bobby Lashley multiple times. Big E then gets beaten by Bobby Lashley multiple times. And before you know it, we get Brock Lesnar as a champion again. That's what I think is most likely, personally. I'm not sat here saying I want it. I'm sat here saying that's what I think will happen. Gotcha, Lauren. Thank you for clearing that up. He is, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he is. Not sure. Wiggly says, I disagree. I do think Cena will get the record. You're entitled to disagree. Absolutely. Oh, the IC title. Right. Fair enough. Hey, he's always been the US title guy, hasn't he? New Suicide Squad is August 6th. You've got some great stuff coming. We've got Loki, got Black Widow, we've got a new Suicide Squad, where I believe Margot Robbie is the only one to survive the cull. Lauren says, Bella's returning. Yes, they are. They very much are. So, not Randy Orton? Not Drew McIntyre? I mean, the way Drew McIntyre is going, he certainly could be the next one. Who else is there at the moment? Not Roman Reigns? Seth Rollins? Roman Reigns could do it. Connecting people through wrestling has a bit of fantasy booking for us. KO goes over at Money in the Bank. Roman beats The Rock at Mania. KO cashes in and wins the belt at Mania. If you're going to do that, you might as well cash in during the match, because then you get to say you've wrestled The Rock. Why isn't Liv in the Money Bank? There's 2 spots left. She's not in yet. Have patience. Matt says there was supposed to be a Lex Luger documentary last night. 4th of July would have been perfect for that. They seem to have toned down all of the 4th of July stuff. Unusual. Lauren believes that Orton is the most deserving to beat Rick's record. I'm not sure on that. Bailey says, is Flair's 16 title reigns a kayfabe record? They don't count Jerry Lawler's titles, I suppose. They don't count Jerry Lawler's. They are not considered world titles. Also, Flair's not the sole record holder. It is Flair and Cena's 16 title record. And it is kayfabe, yes, but it is what it is. Wiggly believes that Asuka will win Money in the Bank again. I'm still sitting on Alexa Bliss and probably Seth Rollins at this point. Do I see an RK Bro breakup soon? Not anytime soon, no. Not soon. But eventually, I'm sure. Megan says, they gave the case to Owens. I don't think there is any way of stopping him cashing in during the match if The Rock is involved. That's exactly what I said, yeah. So, yeah. I get you. Lauren's not a huge fan of Randy Orton. Okay. Conor Peter Insider, they wanted a bigger lead in for the Luger Dog, so I'm going to assume it will air after Money in the Bank. Maybe. Makes sense. Yes, Wiggly, I actually do. I think Donald Trump will at some point appear once again on WWE programming because I think his old pal Vince will do him a favor. Don't get your hopes up. Just don't get your hopes up. I'd imagine there's more to this coming. No, Lauren, at no point did I say that. At no point did I say that. Definitely don't see that happening. Definitely don't see that. Connecting People says, Trump on WWE being major negative. I don't see it happening. It would be, and that's kind of why I do see it happening. Trump's been on WWE programming several times in the past. Now, Vince McMahon does try and keep politics out of wrestling because he believes he wants to essentially get as many fans in as possible. I'm not sat here saying I want it to happen, guys. I'm sat here saying it's Vince McMahon and he does do it as he's told. You know, I think he would just do as he's told in that regard. I'm not sat here saying I want it to happen. Wiggly, you're right. That is true. Everybody loves a bit of tragedy porn. WWE try to keep politics out of their TV. They 100% make every effort to keep politics out of their TV. This isn't me saying something guessing. This is literal fact. They do everything possible to keep politics out of their TV. MVP just got kicked in the face. It is, isn't it, J-Dub? It's very busy, though. It's very busy. Bailey says Linda McMahon raised a lot of money for Trump. A lot of people have. Trump still wants them to do him favors. Oh, nope, missed one. We say Trump isn't a damaged brand. He's still very popular. He's both. He's very popular to the few people who don't look at him as a massive detriment to everything in the world. Basically, Trump is very radical. Either he is Christ or the devil, depending on your affiliation. So yeah, he's a real damaged brand. Other than the fact that he's also, a massive liar. Megan says Vince would allow it if he knew he thought he would have some semblance of control over how Trump acts, talks. I can't see that happening. Wiggly, you've missed something there. You've missed something. The voters on the other side as well. That's how many people agree, and that's how many people disagree. Still a fuck ton of people, and that tells you everything you need to know. I'm trying to keep order, as it were, J-Dub. I'm trying to. I don't get where that's come from, Wiggly. I don't get where that's come from. It seems like it's completely come out of nowhere. MVP got his shoulder up at 2, but then stayed laid down. And just like that, the New Day have picked up the win over Lashley and MVP. If you watched the preview earlier today, Wiggly, Trump's done. Stop it. If you watched the preview earlier today, this is exactly what I expected would happen. MVP was literally put into the match to take the loss, to try and make Kofi look a little bit stronger in the build-up, so that Bobby Lashley isn't the one taking the loss. But Kofi still needs to beat someone to look strong. This is the right way to do it. We did, Corey. We did. That or New York, yeah. That or New York. As I say, I don't want it to happen, but I believe the WWE would do it to assure them more ratings. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for dropping in. And yeah, we'll see you Friday. Thank you very much. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I agree, Corey. Raw wasn't bad. It's not one that's going to stand out. It's not one I'm going to watch again, but it's not bad. That didn't disappoint me. So I gained 2 followers today and also lost 1. Yay. Standard. So, as usual at this point, we are going to wrap up. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be here a little bit longer while we wrap up StreamYard. Yep, Megan's right. It was very up and down. There were some serious downs. There were some decent ups. There'll definitely be spoilers, yeah. You're never not going to get spoilers, right? Brandy Lauren _. You want me to go in there? Let's go in there. We're going to do /raid to Brandy Lauren. That's how you spell Lauren. _. Please stick around for the raid. This does help me with chances of being raided back. Hopefully that's worked. I'm going to go in there. And after this ad break, see if it pops up. I did enjoy the whole lightsaber thing. But for everyone who has watched and enjoyed, I've been Tom Colahue. You have been watching the beauty that is being WWE Raw. So, I'm going to say goodnight. We will hopefully see you tomorrow for either Football Manager or, in addition, for the NXT watch-along of the Great American Bash. Hopefully, see you all there. I've been Tom Colahue. Have a very, very good night.